Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
It is that time again as we broadcast live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. See Sparky Pfeiffer, Tommy Wirtz producing one more time today as Charlie Usen has one more day off, and then he will return tomorrow. And as Tommy Wirtz said on the last show, if you hear him on every show, that does not mean that he's officially on every show going forward over the next week or so, but we have a bunch of people that are going to miss time seemingly all at the same time here in the middle of November. And Tommy Wirtz said, dude, I got it all. I'll do it all.
I want to work. I want everyone to know I want to work. I want to be there. I just understand if you're like, oh my God, Tommy, shut the hell up, because all I do is hear you.
Correct. Right. That could happen.
Yeah.
It's happened to me over the course of the years, so it very well could happen to you as well. Who they will not want to hear shut the hell up is Joey Ortiz, Milwaukee Brewers shortstop. He'll be joining us here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, coming up at 2:40. And I know what you're thinking. Joey Ortiz, day after a Packer-Eagles game. Boy, way to program your show, Sparky. Hey, listen, let me explain something to you. First of all, you're going to need a break from all this negative, depressing talk. That's number one. Number two, Brewers had a hell of a season. Tonight, they named the manager of the year for the Baseball Writers Association of America. And I'm thinking it's going to be Pat Murphy. So we'll talk to Joey Ortiz a little bit about that. But the main reason I reached out to have Joey Ortiz on, we set this up, what was it, last week? Was he was on the Stars and Stripes honor flight that took place on November 1st. I went to D.C. with all the different vets and so forth. And I wanted to get his perspective on it because obviously he was on the Brewers plane. So there were 3 planes that went that day, November 1st. There was one for the Brewers. There was one for the Green Bay Packers that flew out of Green Bay. And then there was another one for the Milwaukee Bucks that also flew out of Milwaukee. They were all staggered at different times and then all met up for one big group photo in D.C. at one moment in time. And then all flew back at different times as well. So I've never been on the Stars and Stripes honor flight. So want to get Joey Ortiz's take as far as what that whole day is all about and everything you went through. And I would imagine that it had some type of impact on Joey Ortiz because every single person I've talked to that's ever had the privilege, and that's what it is, a privilege and honor to be on that Stars and Stripes honor flight comes away impacted in a big way, Tommy Wirtz, for those that get to go on.
Yeah, I mean, we were planning out this Mason Crosby show, Veterans Day special, and obviously, day after a Packer game, you got to focus in on that, but it's something that our sponsor of that show, Verizon, takes very passionately, and it's something that makes Mason Crosby, very passionate as well, and that's why Verizon and him have such a great partnership, and our show have a great partnership with that as well. I couldn't be more excited to set up that show today. Like Troy Calhoun, head coach of Air Force, was awesome. Shout out to Verizon for hooking us up with Eric as he well. Was good. Yep. That was it's bigger than sports in some of those. And I remember we had Chris Gizzy on earlier this year.
He ran out with the flag after 9/11.
Yeah, and we had him on the 9/11 show on the Mason Crosby show. There's just some of those little nuances and moments that you got to take advantage of because and look at the bigger picture, right? The sports being the microcosm of society. And I can't wait to hear what Joey Ortiz had to say about the honor flight, because as you said, every time I've ever heard anyone talk about it, nothing but unreal remarks about it.
Right. So we'll talk with Joey Ortiz about that coming up at 2:40. Also coming up on today's show, Green and Gold Update Time, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook at 4 o'clock. A guest in that time slot today, Peter Bukowski. He'll be positive. Leap Newsletter, Locked On Packers podcast. I'm joking, of course, if you know Peter Bukowski. He's not the most positive person in the world like me. And he'll join us coming up at 4 o'clock. Very, very knowledgeable, though, is one Peter Bukowski. So looking forward to talking to him at 4. Don't forget, stream us live on X, stream us live on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook, all at the same place, at WI Sports Radio, at WI Sports Radio. Obviously, we're going to talk about a lot about the Packers losing last night 10-7 to the Philadelphia Eagles. First topic du jour that we're going to kick off with today, because I know y'all have been venting throughout the day with Inside Wisconsin Sports with Mitch Thunder Nellis and Trevor this morning. Those two will be back together again tomorrow as Josh Albrecht is off at Disney World. And then 9 to noon with Kuhn. That was a fun show to listen to today with Rami and John Kuhn. Got a little John Kuhn going to play back for you. Got a little something. I heard that Raise an Antenna. We'll play that back for you at 3 o'clock. I want to get into something John Kuhn said. And then, of course, Mason and Tommy with their great show. And they both were highly critical of what they saw yesterday as well. And if you listened to the Green Bay football postgame show last night with Tommy Wirtz and myself, you know Tommy was fired up last night. And after a night's sleep, it has not really calmed Tommy down all that much, if we're being honest.
Was it supposed to?
Well, sometimes it does. Sometimes after you sleep on it, you change your mind, you have different feelings, and you relax a little bit, and it's not all that bad at the end of the day. My question is this: what's your biggest issue with this Packers offense? I will tell you, from 2 o'clock until 4:40, all Packers topics will revolve, for the most part, around Matt LaFleur's offense. Jordan Love's offense. Josh Jacobs' offense. We're going to talk about this offense in different ways throughout this show, because clearly that is the issue, not the defense. Now, we could talk about the kicker. I don't want to talk about the stupid kicker. Go on another show if you want to talk about kickers. I don't want to talk about the kicker. With all due respect to Mason Crosby, love you. I ain't talking about the kicker on this show for 3 hours. Not doing it. Somebody else wanted to debate who the kicker should be. Feel free. But again, last night on that TV broadcast, they mentioned that McManus still isn't healthy. So, again, you want to run into your players out there like Zach Tom, like McManus, and like a lot of these other guys, you're going to get what you get as far as results go, because they're clearly not close to 100%, and they're trying to gut it out and give you whatever they have. So I'm not going to go into that. But I do want to talk about the offense. What's your biggest issue with this Packers offense right now? Nicolay Law, talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. To kick this off, I want you to hear from Chris Canty, former NFL defensive lineman, on ESPN, I believe. Right? This was on ESPN this morning.
It was, yes.
Chris Canty on ESPN this morning said this.
How concerned are you about Jordan Love and that Packers offense?
I'm very concerned. Jordan Love is bad, and he's probably going to get his coach fired if he can't get it fixed. That's where we at. Here's the quiet.
That's very, very, very hard.
Yeah, but here's why it's very, very, very fair, Stephen A.
Okay.
New team president, Ed Policy, when he took over the job this year, he didn't extend general manager Brian Gutekunst or head coach Matt LaFleur.
He should have.
And they're in their penultimate years of their contracts.
Okay.
Now, typically, the Packers don't like to operate like that. When you're a couple of years out from a contract extension, they want to get those deals done. But there's a reason why he hit the pause button on that. And when you make the move that the Green Bay Packers did before the season in trading multiple first-round draft picks and Kenny Clark, who is a perennial Pro Bowler, for Micah Parsons, what you are saying is that you believe this roster is good enough to contend for a championship. And every single facet of the football team is playing at a high level, except for the quarterback. And I'm not going to say that it's squarely on Matt LaFleur, but he has some bearing, some responsibility in all of that. But ultimately, what we know is the quarterback is going to be around because they just paid him $55 million a year. And so the reality of what we're getting from Jordan Love is just not good enough. All you got to do is look at the first drive of the game. 2nd and 9 in plus territory, ball inside of the 40. Why are you taking a sack?
Right.
You got the check down to the running back in the flat. You got the check down on the spot route to the tight end. And you decide to pass up on both of those throws for God knows why. And you take a sack by Jalix Hunt and you end up on the wrong side of the 50. Last drive of the first half, you're plus territory. You're taking a sack fumble. You take points off the board in that situation. You only lost by 3. That's 6 points that I just gave you.
Yeah.
It's completely inexcusable what we're getting from Jordan Love. He absolutely has to be better. The stats tell a different story than the play that we're getting from the quarterback on the field. It's just not good enough.
Okay. So there is Chris Canty going off on ESPN about the Packers quarterback, Jordan Love. I can't defend Jordan Love to what he said. He's right. He's absolutely correct on his thoughts on Jordan Love. I do not disagree in any way, shape, or form on what he said. Now, there's a couple of things to consider. Number one, as we've talked about to nauseum, is the mentality of Jordan Love. And that is, he's big game hunting, man. That's who that dude is. And this is why I said before, if you're going to play a lot of this too high safety shell stuff and yada, 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 and they're going to try and keep everything in front of them, the defense is for the other team. If that's what this is going to be, can Jordan Love be patient enough to take what's given and not make a mistake? Can he do that? I don't know. I have defended Love time and again. I've defended LaFleur time and again. But I'm starting to have doubts as to where we are going with this thing. Because when you have guys that are open, not saying he's Rodgers necessarily, but when you have checkdowns that are open and you're still taking sacks or doing unnecessary things, we should be farther along in this process, in my opinion, if you're Jordan Love. You sat for multiple years. Now you're starting. This is your third year as a starter. Now, I know you've missed a couple of games because of injury and so forth. I get it. I do. I understand. Do you know what the topic du jour has been for most of the day on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network? Every show, I think, at some point possibly could have brought this up. Maybe Tommy and Mason didn't because they had a lot of interviews going on today. But it's been, Matt LaFleur doesn't trust Jordan Love. He don't trust Jordan Love. That's why Jordan Love ain't opening up the offense, because he don't trust him. And Jordan Love, he don't trust his offensive line. And Josh Jacobs don't trust his offensive line. And we're all looking around going, does anybody trust anybody at this point? The crazy part about this is, explain to me how in the first year as a starting quarterback in the National Football League, you look as good as you look in the second half. When you're Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur says, baby, let's roll. I'm opening up the playbook. Wing it all over. What happened between that and today? How do you trust them there? Fast forward a year and a half, and now that's all out the window, and we apparently don't trust him to do the same type of stuff. Because, again, outside looking in, that's what it looks like. So what's your biggest issue with the Packers offense? I don't think it's necessarily just Jordan Love. I don't think it's just Matt LaFleur. I think, like what everybody else has pretty much said earlier today, it's trust. There's trust issues all over this offense. That, I think, is the biggest issue right now that you have with this Packers offense. What say you? Nicolay Law, talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Brian in McGuanago, you are up next. What's going on, Brian? What's your biggest issue?
See me for drinking a bottle of vodka.
Woo.
Let me tell you, I have a couple of things to say that are going to be all over the board, but just think about this and I want to listen to your answer. Number one, I would fire LaFleur. He's got the red flag. He's the leader of your team, basically. He's the one that makes those decisions. For at least 10 minutes, he had his back to the field, looking at his tablet, honest to God, like he was trying to phone friends on a group chat what to do. He's got the red flag. What if something happens at the moment? Where is the coach? Only one red flag on each side, and then multiple coaches have red flags. Number two, Jacobs, how smart is he? He's going out in the flat in the left, and he's turning around to the right. If he'd have turned to the left, he could have ran for 40 yards. Number three.
Wait. So you're mad at Jacobs for not running the correct way? Or are you mad at Jordan Love for throwing the ball the wrong way? Who are you mad at in that situation?
In individual play, I'm not just saying that he cost the Packers the game. What I'm saying is there doesn't seem like there's practice that is thorough enough, these false start penalties on the offense in critical situations. But the biggest thing, Jacobs turns right when he should have been turning. He knows what the play calls. Jordan Love last night played like Bo Melton was on his fantasy team. If I had what the Packers really need is they need some kahunas. I would fire LaFleur this morning, and I would hire Brian Daboll. If you remember when he was the offensive coordinator of Buffalo and Josh Allen was struggling for about a year, he developed Allen into the player he is now. That's how he got that job.
Daniel Jones played great in the first year he was under Brian Daboll as well.
That's what I'm saying. So if that, I mean, they can't obviously get rid of Jordan Love making $55 million a year. They've got to do something. LaFleur literally looks like he couldn't lead a brownie troop in a camping expedition. He looks lost, confused, disoriented, and many times when the camera's on him, he looks overwhelmed. You look at his eyes; and he's got a gaze.
He doesn't know. Brian, he looked lost yesterday in the first half. Thanks for the call, Brian. I appreciate it.
Do you think Brian slept on it all right tonight, based on that?
No. But that's Brian. Brian's an emotional dude. I've been talking to Brian for years. This is the thing. This whole, we're going to fire Matt LaFleur. 3:20, people. 3:20. About an hour from right now, we're going to talk about Matt LaFleur and who exactly is going to call plays. Whether you fire Matt LaFleur or whether you strip him of play calling, whatever that looks like, because a lot of you want to do that, we're going to talk about your options at 3:20 of who you would like to see take over play calling for Matt LaFleur. I do want to dive into that for certain here at some point. Let's see, where are we going to next? Let's go to Charlie in West Dallas. Charlie in West Dallas, first off, make sure your radio is off. I'm sure Tommy told you that. Make sure your radio is off or turned down. See, bosses in radio, don't tell them to turn off their radio. They're going to turn it back on, man. They ain't going to turn it off and then drive around in silence the rest of the day. Charlie in West Dallas, you are next here. No, you still haven't done it. Okay, well, we're going to put you back on hold. I'll move on. Once you figure out to turn your radio off, I'll come back to you. Let's see. Where are we going next here? Let's go to Lewis, north side of Milwaukee. Lewis is a vet. I don't got to worry about this with Lewis. Lewis, you're next on the Nicolay Law Talker text line. What's up, Lewis?
What's up, man? I love the first caller. Everything I wanted to say, he probably said it. But this, like, what confuses me the most is there's just no continuity with the offense. And to answer your question of, like, I don't know who the hell we're going to get to call the plays. I don't know, but a lot of times, like, I don't know if you have, you got kids, and sometimes, you say something to your son, you say something, he's just not getting it. When I would have that way with my son, I call up my brother and say, "Hey, man, talk to your nephew for a little bit."
It's a good idea. That's a smart play.
So yeah. that's there's nobody that the Packers can call and say, "Hey, talk to these guys." So we know, like, what it's looking like. LaFleur is probably going to get fired in the offseason. You know what I'm saying? But if that's the road we're going down, hell, get rid of him now. Make a statement. Everybody's playing for your job next year. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember. And you remember, Sparky, when Mike Holmgren retired and we had a team expected to go to the Super Bowl, Ray Rhodes went 8-8. They fired Ray Rhodes damn near during that last game against Arizona. You and I know it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So the Packers can do it. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel bad. The only person I'm going to feel bad when he gets fired is for that barber of his. And I'm telling you, that guy went to the barber that morning. And it's so damn cold. He's the only coach without a hat on.
Hey, man.
That's how narcissistic this guy is.
Yeah, but you can't be mad because somebody wants to look good, man. Man even gets his eyebrows done. Man gets his eyebrows done, man.
Did you see the difference in appearance between our head coach and their head coach?
Oh yeah, Sirianni doesn't care. I mean, there's a difference between liking how you look and Sirianni doesn't care how he looks. No, I agree with you, but I don't think it's because he wants to look good. Thanks for the call. I don't think that's it. I mean, I don't know. Tommy, you're critical of everything. You tell me. If somebody looks too good, is he a bad coach?
I don't hate the take.
Oh, geez.
Look. There's something about it where, I'm not saying that I don't want him to be just completely disheveled when he goes out there. There's a difference in that too, right? Look at, how much fleck there was for Dan Quinn wearing his hat backwards from people. Like, there is something to that. Now there's a line to walk with it too, where you kind of want a little bit of grit out of your football coach, but you also don't want him to look completely unprofessional, right? I'm not saying that has anything to deal with what his coaching ability is, but I understand why it could strike a nerve with some people, is all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I understand. That I don't understand why it matters what you look like. That's what I don't understand. Yeah, look, for a long time, I think it was Charlie Weiss who pretty much said, hey, man, I was too fat. Nobody was ever going to hire me. So that dude went and had surgery to look thinner in order to hopefully get himself a head coaching job. And by God, he did. Wasn't very good at it, but he got himself a college football head coaching job at the end of the day because he thought his appearance was costing him a chance in order to get an NFL head coaching job. Man, either you know ball or you don't. I don't give a damn what you look like one way or the other. Just figure it out and let's go. Let's go to, where did I say we're going to next? Oh, Charlie in West Dallas, try number 2. You're next on the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line. What's your biggest issue with this Packers offense?
My biggest issue, I'm going to say something real quick. I'm so tired of people saying somebody's going to get fired because they want him to get fired. He's doing good. He's doing the biggest thing that makes the Packers, they have penalties on the most important. They'll have a great play, say 40 yards down the line. That might be exaggeration, but 40 yards down. And then there's a penalty.
Yep.
They get penalties at the wrong time.
Kills them.
I mean, even though you're not supposed to get penalties, they just have come up with these penalties. It's like it just kind of destroys what they're doing. They're driving down the field. All of a sudden they have some penalty, takes them back. It just gets ridiculous. It's like it's penalty day or something.
That is part of it.
Listen, do it all the time.
That is definitely part of it. Thanks for the call. You look at the 22-yard pass to Christian Watson.
Yep.
That was lining up wrong because they were covering up
And
the
that's
extra
coaching.
offensive
That's
lineman.
coaching.
Absolutely, it's coaching. Yes. You've got false start and Aaron Banks. And in fairness, Aaron Banks, I'm sure the Packers are like, well, what the hell with this? If Philly's going to leave early, then we're going to leave early. If they're not going to call it on them, I want it not called on us. And then, of course, they flag them, and it costs them there. Yes, penalty has been an issue for this Packers team all year long. And in fairness, it was an issue under Mike McCarthy as well for a number of years, too. And lack of discipline, I heard them talking about this on Inside Wisconsin Sports, too. You know, is that a player thing or is that a coaching thing? Because the player's the one that's lacking the discipline, but I feel like the coach is the one that gets blamed for it.
Well, if it's lining up incorrectly, I'm going to blame that on install, and that's all coaching.
But wait a second, Tommy. You're telling me, and I'm not saying I've ever been an assistant coach in the NFL, but you're telling me there isn't somebody on the sidelines looking to make sure they're good? Shouldn't somebody's job on the sideline be making sure we're lined up correctly at the line of scrimmage?
What kind of assistant? An assistant coach? Coaching.
Coaching, yeah. All right, what are your biggest issues with this Packers offense? Chris Candy went off on Jordan Love on ESPN. That's how we started the segment. I say it's trust issues across the board on offense. What say you? Nicolay Law Talking text line 414-677-1250. If you're on hold, we'll try and get you coming up in the next segment. Also still to come, Joey Ortiz, Milwaukee Brewers shortstop, will tell us all about his Stars and Stripes honor flight back on November 1st. He'll join us at 2:40. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.
This impacts a lot, whether or not they're able to get a touchdown or if they have to try to settle for 3.
Jacobs bends it back and fights his way for the touchdown. Wow.
Great play there by Josh Jacobs. Highlight courtesy of ESPN. That was the Packers' only score of the game as they lose 10-7. Wisconsin Sports Daily served up by Wendy Sparky. Here, Tommy Wirtz filling in for Charlie Hughes and asking you what's your biggest issue with this Packers offense. We played the Chris Canty sound from ESPN earlier, just going off about how bad Jordan Love was in that game. So that's where he thinks it is. I think it has more to do with trust issues between LaFleur and Love, Love in the line, Jacobs in the line, and so forth. What say you? Nicolay Law Talk, text line 414-677-1250. Joey Ortiz, Brewer shortstop. Talk about his Stars and Stripes honor flight back on November 1st, coming up in about 10 minutes. Let's go to Dave in Caledonia. You're next here on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's up, Dave?
Hey, buddy, what's happening?
What's going on?
Hey, these callers are funny as heck, man. I'm bald and overweight for over 20 years. I'm still pretty good at what I do. these guys talking about his hairline and his man, get his look out of here. What it is, and this is something that should really hit hard. Is it really makes sense now why him and Rodgers did not see eye to eye. It really makes sense now why Rodgers changed so many plays. Because Rodgers is an ace. I don't care what anybody says. He choked on us in the playoffs here and there, but he's a forever Hall of Famer, and he saw the writing on the wall. He saw how LaFleur made play calls, and he's like, "That's not going to work. I see what's out here. It's not going to work." Jordan Love's not there yet. He's not at that capacity to be able to make those decisions. He's still a young man, and all these callers on LaFleur. Listen, I'm on LaFleur too. Having him fired, is that going to solve it? No, but another thing that could help solve it is to simplify it a little bit for Jordan. It seems like Jordan Love is either really confused or he's throwing the ball down the field 30, 40 yards.
Yep.
The other thing that nobody's really saying is on this type of squad with this type of coach, you have to be a top 5 quarterback because LaFleur is lost. I think we've gotten to the point where we can see, the whole thing of him going to the iPad and looking confused and all that on the sideline. You have to be a top 5 quarterback. There's no way your defense is this good and you're third in your division. When you are a middle of the road quarterback, I'm sorry, Jordan Love is top 15 to me. He's not in that top 10. He's not in that top 5. I don't care what his salary says. You have to dumb it down for this dude. You have to simplify things.
See, that's just it, but that's just it though. Like, I think we're already at that point. I don't think he has free access to audible into whatever he wants to audible into at the line of scrimmage like Rodgers did. I don't think he allows him that ability to do that. I think LaFleur wants control of everything.
And I agree with that. And that's kind of what I was making the statement as in my opening. That's why him and Rodgers didn't get along.
Correct.
Because whether he trusts Rodgers or not, Rodgers was going to change that play. You know that.
Correct.
Okay. It didn't. He was going to change it. Jordan's going, I better not. And LaFleur's going, I don't trust you to do it. And I agree. The trust is definitely an issue. But I'm telling you, it's not just a LaFleur issue. It's LaFleur. It's Love. That offensive line's a mess. And it's stupid penalties. These guys better clean it up or they're going to be done.
All right, Dave. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. From one Dave to another Dave. This Dave in West Allis. You're next on the Nicolay Law Talking text line. Dave, what's your biggest issue with the Packers offense?
Okay, I was going to let LaFleur have another year, but I've changed my mind. He's totally lost. And Hafley's got to go. He's got no imagination. We need to fire him, and then we need to hire that former Badger defensive line coach that was let go a couple of years ago, because at least he had schemes. And you could see the Badger teams, they had schemes to get to the quarterback, blitzes, packages, and stuff like this. Hafley, he just sends his 5 rushers, and that's it. Nothing. No blitzes, nothing. They didn't put any pressure on that guy yesterday.
Barkley didn't get over 100 yards. They only scored 10 points. A.J. Brown didn't do anything against them. I mean, they legitimately gave up 2 explosive plays, and the Barkley explosive play doesn't happen if Carrington Valentine just makes the tackle.
In every loss this year, they've given up 16 or less, too, on top of it.
2 2 games they haven't gotten near the damn quarterback. Not even within 5 feet of them. 2 games.
Yesterday,
no sacks, nothing.
Correct. Micah
There's no
Parsons.
blitzes. There's no defensive imagination on that team. That's why they're losing.
By design in that game yesterday was what that was. It was by design. This is how Halfway, and you can disagree. I'm fine with you disagreeing. I'm just saying, by design, Halfway doesn't bring a lot of exotic blitzes or anything else when they're dealing with a running quarterback. That's how he played it last year. That's how he's playing it again this year. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. That's by design. And you can't argue with the results. They don't give up big games to wide receivers. That does not happen. And if you're going to go down the field on the Packers, it's normally not on big plays. It's going to take you a while to get down the field. Micah Parsons was credited with 7 pressures from Pro Football Focus. I do not remember 7 pressures. 2 for Rashawn Gary, but 7 seems like an awful lot to me. But again, that's Pro Football Focus. One more here before we get to Joey Ortiz of the Brewers. Trav and Brown Deer, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's up, Trav?
How's it going? And mine's going good. So in Jordan, we trust, right?
I don't know if everybody's with you now, Trav. I think he might have lost some people.
Sparky, when he goes 20 for 20, right?
Yeah.
I think it's the play calling, right? It's just bad, man. Yeah,
it's interesting. When you go 20 for 20, did LaFleur get a lot of credit for that? Was LaFleur getting a lot of pat on the back? Like, boy, you called yourself a half right there. Or was all the credit going to Jordan Love?
I think he spooked back there. Are we a running team or are we a passing team?
Matt LaFleur wants it to be a running team. I think that's clear as day. Thanks for the call. And I agree with you. I think he definitely seemed a little rattled. And Aikman pointed it on the broadcast that the pass rush and the lack of the offensive line blocking definitely got to Jordan Love a little bit in that game yesterday. Coming up next, Joey Ortiz, Milwaukee Brewers shortstop. Looking forward to talking to him. And don't forget, I love me some Potawatomi. Potawatomi is giving away over $300,000 in prizes. It's autumn action. Yep, you heard that right. Over $300,000 in prizes courtesy of our friends over at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Autumn action runs from now through the 20th, and you can earn entries playing with your rewards card. Prize drawings happen on Thursdays between 5 and 8 p.m. If you win, you get to pick your prize from the prize board. All leftover prizes go in a rollover jackpot drawing. For more info, go online at Potawatomi.com. Must be 21 years of age or older and a rewards member to play. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.
It's time for the botched moment of the day. Bad call, dropped pass, horrible coaching. Did someone say the wrong thing? Let's get to it on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, botch moment of the game. Joey Ortiz is on hold. We'll get to him momentarily. This is a sponsor something. I'll get this in quick here. This is something that I think is obvious.
Love protected. Incomplete. It was there, and the pass is incomplete to Bo Melton.
And apparently it hit off his mouth guard, Tommy Wirtz. That's what I heard. I heard it hit off his mouth guard that was dangling and not in his mouth.
There was kind of mouth guard gate yesterday in the community over here. A lot of people talking about Bo Melton just couldn't catch it because he tried using his mouth guard instead of his hands.
Do you think he'd sign the mouth guard for me?
Oh, God, I want that mouth guard. Yeah, that is the memorabilia I need.
Joining us now on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law, he is Milwaukee Brewers shortstop, Joey Ortiz, joining us here on Veterans Day. Joey, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
First off, before we get going here, I got my producer, Tommy Wirtz, over here wearing some Wilmer, what is it, the Wilmer Stingers or whatever?
Yeah, I'm actually wearing a Stinger shirt.
Yeah,
today.
wearing a Wilmer Stinger shirt. He talks about this Wilmer, Minnesota thing like it was a long-lost home while he was there doing baseball. And he puts you on hold. He goes, Joey Ortiz, he played in Wilmer too. So tell me about Wilmer, Minnesota, Joey Ortiz.
Wilmer, wow. I mean, that was a good while back. I played in the Northwoods one summer when I was in college, and I actually had a really great host family that I met there, and they made that summer really, really great for me. But yeah, I mean, I had never been to Minnesota, and especially Wilmer, which it seemed like it was just nothing but cornfields. So it was a little bit of a shock for me coming from California, but it was a cool experience for me for sure.
That's awesome. I didn't plan on talking about Wilmer, but since Tommy's wearing his T-shirt, I felt obligated to bring that up. The reason I wanted to get you on, obviously, because with it being Veterans Day, I wanted to get at least somebody on to talk about something related to Veterans Day. And I know a person that was on that Stars and Stripes honor flight with you, and it tipped me off that you were on that flight on the Brewers plane. There was a Brewers plane, a Bucks plane, and a Packers plane leaving from Green Bay on November 1st, and you were a part of that. And I just wanted to get you on to kind of talk about that day and that experience that you had.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was definitely something special for me. I have family members who serve this country, and I think the honor flight does such a great job with, past veterans, and I think the flight I was on was mostly Vietnam veterans. And when they came home from serving our country and doing what they needed to do, it just didn't seem like they were welcomed, and they didn't really get that type of round of applause that I think they deserve.
They were getting spit on, is what I heard. I mean, the people were that mad at them.
Yeah, and that's crazy. To hear stories like that, and to think that these servicemen and women, will go out across the world to, protect us here at home and get away from their families for so long and sacrifice as much as they did, and then they come home and the people here who are living free weren't too happy with them, and it's pretty unfortunate. But I think the honor flight did a great job, and seeing all these veterans when we got home after that day, and the parade that they had for them, and seeing the smiles on their face, it made it all, worthwhile. It was a pretty cool day.
I'm sure people have heard about the honor flight. And many people like myself have never been privileged enough to go on the honor flight. That's a pretty long day, right? I mean, what time did you get there in the morning, and what did that day look like for you guys?
Yeah, we were up early, actually. I think we had to be at the airport at around 5 a.m. I think, pretty early. We were on the flight around 6:30, 7 o'clock, flying to, I believe it was Virginia or Washington, D.C. I forget what it's called. But, yeah, it's pretty much a whole day in the memorials that were going on out there. And pretty much going from memorial to memorial, it was all spread out. They had it timed up really great. I think they give you an hour or two and at every memorial just to go walk around. And I had a veteran, his name was Johnny Smith.
So me and him would walk around all day. My wife actually, joined and had her own veteran that she would walk around. And,
Nice.
we kind of just enjoyed time together, spent time together. The stories Johnny was telling me all day were super cool. And, it was definitely a pretty cool, definitely long day. I mean, we were there from, who knows, left the airport at 7:00 in the morning, got back at around 8 or 9 in the evening. So it's a long day, but it was all worth it for sure.
The other thing that I heard about the Iron Flight was they do feed you along the way, right? But you're eating like in a bus going from one place to the next. Is that how it works?
Yeah, they did feed us. They kept us well fed, well hydrated too. I think they did a great job with that. But yeah, we were eating on the bus on the way to the next memorial. But it's good. I think it kept everyone entertained, and there wasn't too much standing around time, which is we could do that at home. I think on that type of adventure, I think it's good to get around and see all the cool memorials, the things like that, and it was special.
Talking with Joey Ortiz, Milwaukee Brewers shortstop. He was part of the Stars and Stripes Honors Flight back on November 1st doing this. Was it your guys' first time on the Honor Flight? Had he been on it before, or what was that experience like for him? Because I know with a lot of these guys, there's even all these years later, there's still some closure needed for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure the things they've seen, over in, like I said, these guys were mostly Vietnam veterans. So I'm sure the things they saw over in Vietnam and even just preparing to go, get sent over there, I'm sure this day was important for them. Like you said, it hopefully for a lot of them, it was a closure and, being able to go see these memorials. And, there was a wall there, a Vietnam veteran wall of all the soldiers who had lost their lives over there. And I think you could see, kind of the sorrow on these men and women's face. It's people they knew, people they served with. And I think being able to go there and kind of, have their moment there and, have the good memories and be able to see them go through that. And, like I said, at the end of the day, when they got home, they got the round of applause that I think they deserved too. And to see the smiles on the people's face, the men and women's face, it was a blessing.
And with today being Veterans Day, there are plenty of places around the country. Here in the state of Wisconsin, we're on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. We're in Green Bay, Appleton, Wausau, Duluth, Superior, and in Milwaukee. Plenty of places where veterans can go today to get free food, free meals. All kinds of different restaurants have free meals for veterans today, which is a very cool thing from numerous restaurants around the country and here in the state of Wisconsin. One last thing before we move on, and that is, I think the Baseball Writers Association of America is probably going to name your manager, Pat Murphy, again as back-to-back manager of the year. Talk about the year. Talk about how it ended and the role of Pat Murphy in it.
No, yeah, the year was great. I think we played well all year, despite the opening series. I think people kind of just wrote us off and probably even was thinking like, oh, everything we were saying in the offseason is right. Milwaukee's just going to be an average team. And,
no, that's not true, Joey. We thought the Yankees were cheating with those bats. That's what we thought.
Oh, I know. That's when the torpedo bats
right.
Finally came out, and everyone was wondering what was going on.
Yep.
But no, yeah, I think after that, we turned it around and we just played the baseball that we knew we were capable of, and we're able to win ball games. And I think Murph does such a great job with focusing and making sure that we're focused on the task at hand every day, not worried about what's going to go on in, the playoffs or anything. Like, I think he did a great job making sure that we were locked in every day for those 9 innings. And then as soon as that was over, it's on to the next day, forgetting about the good, the bad, whatever happened. You're on to the next day, getting ready for that day. And I think that's the biggest mindset, switch that I definitely learned, not this year, but this past year as well, is that, every day is a different day and you got to take advantage of that day. And I think Murph does such a good job with preaching that.
Joey, I appreciate you coming on, spend some time with us here on Veterans Day, man. Enjoy the off season, and we look forward to next season.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. And to all the veterans who are listening right now, I just want to thank you all for the service, because, without you guys, without you men and women who are willing to sacrifice, I wouldn't be able to, do the job I have freely. And just want to say thank you to all those veterans out there.
Well said. There he is, Joey Ortiz, Milwaukee Brewers shortstop, joining us here on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. The Milwaukee Bucks, they won last night, and that means you win today. That's right, at Wendy's. After every Bucks win, stop by any participating Wisconsin Wendy's for a free small vanilla or chocolate frosty classic. No purchase necessary. This offer is only good for 24 hours after a win, so act fast and get your frosty today. And I don't know how much we're going to actually talk about the Milwaukee Bucks. Probably not a ton necessarily on today's show, but somebody better break out Kyle Kuzma here, because Kyle Kuzma is feeling it for the Milwaukee Bucks, overcoming 20 points last night, which was amazing and critical in a close game down the stretch. Ryan Rounds with a big basket to win, and then Nico Harrison, the general manager of the Mavericks, appears as getting fired and let go by the Dallas Mavericks after the Bucks beat them last night. Coming up next, we get back to the Green Bay Packers. John Kuhn said something that had my antennas going up, and I got to see what you all think of John Kuhn's comments about this Packers offense from 9 to noon this morning, from 9 to noon, obviously. That's straight ahead here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
It is time again. Welcome in as we broadcast live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Tommy Wirtz, other side of the glass. My thanks again to Joey Ortiz, Brewer shortstop, for joining us there in the last segment here on Veterans Day. Wanted to do something around Veterans today on today's show. I did not have it planned out as well as Mason and Tommy did for their show, but I wanted to make sure we did something, and Joey Ortiz was a pretty cool guest to have talking about it. So, coming up this hour, Charlie Sounds of the Day, as always, at 3:40, brought to you by Prize Picks. We will get to that. But I want to start off playing you something that happened on 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff early today. Brandon Snide, also, you will hear a lot of on that show, the producer. And John Kuhn and them were talking about the offense. And John Kuhn and Brandon Snide kind of went back and forth a little bit about who the best player on this offense truly is. Listen to this.
The guy who is going to give you the best chance to win football games is Josh Jacobs touching the ball more so than anybody. And listen, Jordan Love is the quarterback, so he is the most important player. But Jordan Love throwing it, to the different receivers, but Josh Jacobs is the one that's going to make this whole thing work. They need to get him going.
Bo Melton had more targets last night than more than Matthew Golden, your first round draft pick, had all season long in a single game. But
he also had limited options last night.
That's fair, but I mean, but like the thing with the Matt LaFleur thing is he's coaching a team he wants. He wants a ground and pound and a balanced offense. That's not your strength. The offensive line is better right now at pass blocking than they are run blocking.
Okay, so the question is this. Based on John Kuhn and Brandon Snide having that conversation, and you heard Rami Makloff as well, who is the best player right now on this offense? Because last night on the Packers Radio Network, on the broadcast, Wayne Larrivee and Larry McCarron were saying that it was Tucker Kraft. They were having that conversation when I was driving in to do the Green Bay football postgame show last night with Tommy Wirtz. They literally said Tucker Kraft. John Kuhn says it's Josh Jacobs. And yet, the guy making all the money, $50+ million a year, is your starting quarterback, Jordan Love, to which one caller earlier said, yeah, he's probably top 15 in the NFL at quarterback, but he's probably definitely not top 5 and not top 10. So the question is, who is the best player on this Packers offense, in your opinion? That's all we are. We're just having opinions here. And who should this offense be based around? Those could be two different answers, possibly. Who's the best player on this offense? Who should this offense be based around if you were running things for the Green Bay Packers? Nicolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250. Let's get those phone calls going. Let's go. I got to get some text messages too. We had so many calls. I ignored the text part of this, so I apologize. Nicolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250 on the socials at WI Sports Radio. So, for me, if we start talking about who the best player is on this team right now, I think I would still say Jordan Love. Now, if you took Josh Jacobs and you said, okay, let's stack him against the other running backs in the National Football League, is he higher on that list than, say, Jordan Love is on the list of quarterbacks in the NFL? I would think so. I would think he's probably higher up that list than maybe what Jordan Love is at the quarterback position. To me, the difference is this. I've seen Jordan Love's talent oozing all out of him and dominating games for a half a season. That's his talent. We saw it with our own eyes. We saw him do it. This isn't like all we have to go off of is this year. We saw him dominate. That's why they paid him. They saw it too. Hadn't seen much of it since, but we saw it. We saw him complete 20 straight passes earlier this year. You saw it. Josh Jacobs is Mr. Reliable. That's Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs going to break one for 50 yards? Probably not. Right? Josh Jacobs going to break off an 80-yard home run hit? No. Is Josh Jacobs going to give you 10 here, 12 there, 5 here, 7 there, keep the chains moving and solid? Yes. Can Josh Jacobs break tackles? Yes, thank God, because he's getting hit behind the line of scrimmage more than any back in the league, I think, right now. So thank God for that. That's good. But to me, of those two guys, the one that has the ability to take over and dominate a game is the quarterback, Jordan Love, more so than it is Josh Jacobs at this point, Tommy Wirtz.
I think that if we are basing this off of previous production in the NFL, then yes, it's Josh Jacobs by far is the best player on this offense. Led the league in
rushing a couple years ago, so yeah.
Right. As far as this year, I have not seen anything from Josh Jacobs that makes me think, feed him, give him the ball. He needs to be the focal point of this offense. There has not been any moments this year as far as taking over a game or establishing the run game that has at least given me that thought. Now, don't get me wrong. Josh Jacobs gets his obligatory touchdown week in and week out, that he is an absolutely valuable weapon in that red zone, green zone for them within the 10-yard line type thing. But I struggle to find who that weapon is to be the guy on the offense right now. And, you know, this would be a terrible time to double down on Jaden Reed like I would have last year. But I'm saying this, that if they want to have someone create the big plays, create the splash plays, you have to look to the two wide receivers that have the best speed on the team. And that is Christian Watson and that is Matthew Golden. Now, I feel that I have given up on breakout Matthew Golden right now. If he gets in, he gets in. Great. If he does his thing, awesome. I'll appreciate it. I'm not waiting for it. I'm not holding my breath for it. I've seen Christian Watson have spurts of being a reliable weapon for Jordan Love. His hands look like they've gotten a little bit better. He also, I don't know if we were talking about this yesterday, if it was me and Crosby or me and you, but that play where he kind of turned into a defender to make sure that that wasn't an interception, it ends up being a much more favorable ball for Christian Watson in a different camera angle.
Last night on Twitter or X, whatever, somebody put out the question, should Christian Watson have caught this ball? And it's the video of him, like you said, like jumping into the guy with his hands raised up, his back to the ball. And Christian Watson quote tweeted it and simply put, yes.
Yeah. And I believe that a lot of people were excited about Christian Watson returning to this offense when this offense was healthy. It's got to be at some point, you got to establish one of these guys as a deep threat, deep playability guy. And Green Bay lacks that completely right now in their offense, in which going into, I believe, the first 4 weeks of the year, I think there was a stat yesterday that Jordan Love leads the NFL in completions, or is second in the NFL in completions, of over 30 yards that they put on the broadcast. But that identity has just been completely lost right now for the Green Bay Packers on the offensive side. And it's because they want to establish the run, and they just can't do that with the offensive line constructed the way it is right now.
Okay, so for you to get in, it's pretty simple. The question is, who's the best player in this offense in your opinion, and who should this offense be based around? Because right now, it's based around Josh Jacobs. John Kuhn said the best player is Josh Jacobs. So that is exactly how it's syncing up. So if Matt LaFleur is in the John Kuhn camp, we're going to base the offense around the best player. It's Josh Jacobs. We're rolling in that camp, right?
Is it stubbornly based around Josh Jacobs?
What do you mean stubbornly?
Like, it's just, again, what have you seen from Josh Jacobs this season? Not what he did for the Packers last year, but what have you seen from Josh Jacobs this season that makes you think we got to get him going?
I'm telling you,
they haven't gotten him going at all in 10 weeks into the year.
And if Matt LaFleur was here, Matt LaFleur would tell you that's not his fault. That's our offensive line that has to block better. I'm guessing.
Well, and now
that's what Matt LaFleur would say.
10 weeks later, and
I agree.
Offensive line will not change this year. It can get maneuvered around a little bit, but you will not get anyone different on that offensive line this year. I think that's stubborn that you want to say, I understand you want to establish the run game every week in the NFL. Green Bay can't do that. So why not air it out?
All right, Nikolay Law, talking text line 414-677-1250, 262. JP here. The guy that can get this turned around for the Packers is Christian Watson. He needs to be the go-to guy like Devontae was for Aaron Rodgers. He's our best receiver all around.
Probably.
I don't disagree with you. My only issue with this is if there's a guy that he falls in love with on those deep throws, it's definitely Christian Watson. If there's a guy he's going to throw a ball up to with three guys around him, it's definitely Christian Watson. He ain't throwing a jump ball to Romeo Dobbs. He ain't throwing a jump ball to Jaden Reed, but he's fine throwing it into two safeties and a corner and being like, Christian, go get it, buddy. You got this. That part of it concerns me a little bit. Would I be upset if Christian Watson got 8 to 10 targets a game? I would not be upset with that whatsoever. No. All right, back to the phones we go. Nicolay Law Talking text line 414-677-1250. Trell, north side of Milwaukee. You're next here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's up, Trell?
Hey, what's going on, Sparky?
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I guess to answer your question, it's definitely a nuanced answer. I would say Jordan Love is the answer, but he's the answer because the receiver group is the best group on the offense, if I could say that. The Packers don't have a dominant, get me 10 targets receiver, but they got a bag of variety of Jack the Trade type receivers. And they're going to even get better when Matthew Golden comes back and Jaden Reed comes back. So I think the thing is, I think what Tommy just got done saying as far as being stubborn, I think that's been the biggest issue. Well, one of the biggest issues. The other issue is that Matt LaFleur doesn't trust his quarterback. So Matt LaFleur doesn't trust his quarterback, and he's trying to stubbornly be this great run design type of guy, and he's getting in his own way. And he's making his quarterback, because I disagree with what Canty said earlier. I think he's just picking up on some stuff. I think Dan Orlovsky, out of all the people I've heard today, he's probably had the most spot on thing. And I'm not just saying that because I happen to agree with him and I said it before I heard him say it. It's just that it makes the most sense. LaFleur is playing protective football. He doesn't want to unleash Jordan Love because he's scared Jordan Love is going to turn the ball over. You can't be like that in playing football. You're not going to be able to, and that explains the jerkiness in the offense and all. The Packers are not going to be a good running football team this year. And if he wants to stay stubborn, he's going to get himself fired, and he's going to put a lot of pressure on that quarterback. The best thing the Packers do, the best offensive group, because Tucker Kraft is hurt, is your wide receivers. You have to do a short passing game and then give Josh Jacobs the ball. The pass has to set the run up instead of being the other way around.
Trell, you're playing two high safeties. Why wouldn't you use Luke Musgrave down the middle of the field and just batter them with that? Why wouldn't you do that?
But that's true too, though, Sparky. But I put Luke Musgrave in the receiving core because he's not a blocker like Tucker.
He's not.
I don't even look at him as like a pure tight end. I look at him as more in the receiver group. That's why I say they got the most talent in that group. Matt LaFleur has got to stop trying to bang his head on the wall and do these runs. Do the short, especially when Jaden Reed comes back. Now you got Jaden Reed, you got Matthew, you got all these pieces. Give these guys the ball and let them go down the field.
Yep.
And then guess what's going to happen? The defense is going to come. They have to come up and try to stop it, and now you open the field up.
Agreed. I agree with you, Trell. Thanks. I agree with you. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. He hops off. You hop on. 414-677-1250. It's the Nicolay Law Talk and text line. We are going to Seth in Green Bay, listening on WNFL 99.7 FM. What's up, Seth?
Hey, Sparky. So I got a lot of agreements with the previous caller on there, too. I mean, the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Right.
And that's exactly what Matt LaFleur is doing right now. He has to have some more faith in Jordan Love, and he needs to learn how to become the head coach that he says that he is. And what I mean by that is he states that he's an offensive guru. You have to be able to coach to the talent that's on the field, not make the talent on the field adhere to the scheme that you're trying to push and cram down their throat. If you don't have the talent and the ability to run blocks consistently, you can't run the ball consistently and get it down the field. You can't have Jordan Love sit in the pocket and be a pocket passer because the pocket's collapsing. You have to start getting back to these movement schemes, getting him out of the pocket, rolling him out. Jordan Love's young. He's got legs. He can move. He actually has some talent when he's running the ball as, either a mobile quarterback or potentially running the ball as a running back, kind of. So they need to start scheming to the talent on the field, and Matt needs to prove that he is the coach that he says he is instead of just casting the blame on guys not doing their job. No, you need to put them in a better position to be successful and coach the talent on the field.
It's an excellent point. Thanks.
Jordan Love's their best offensive asset.
Correct. Yes. Thanks for the call. Excellent call, Seth. Don't be a stranger. This goes for any sport. If you coach basketball and you're used to coaching basketball without having a lot of athletes, right? And then all of a sudden you move. And now you're coaching at a school where you have a ton of athletes whose strengths are getting up and down the floor, not just passing the ball around for 20 seconds and taking a 3-point shot, right? What do? A, coach them the same way you coached your other team, or B, come up with a new system that benefits the talent that you have. To Seth's point, the correct answer is B. Do all coaches do that? Absolutely freaking not. No, they do not. Baseball is a little bit different. But in this instance, for this football team, if we go back and rewind, when they were looking for their next head coach, the one thing I think Mark Murphy wanted, and remember, he was running the show. Goody was there, but Murphy was running the show on this. He knew that Aaron Rodgers was coming to the end. So he needed to find a coach, an offensive mind that could take a quarterback, as they say nowadays, that might be mid and still win. Yeah, aren't you impressed with that? That out of my butt.
Yeah,
I did.
That was the correct usage and everything. Yeah, that was good.
I'm going good on a Monday. Okay, so
it's Tuesday.
Dang, I was going so good. Ain't showed again. Dang it. Should just shut up, Sparky, and keep talking. Don't try and act all great. Anyways, so sell me, Mark Murphy, on how we're going to win without a Hall of Fame quarterback. There's no guarantee we're getting a Hall of Fame quarterback third time around here. Had one in Brett, had one in Aaron. There's no guarantee. So whoever gives me the best offense of how this can work, that's who I'm going to hire. Matt LaFleur made his pitch. This is how we're going to do it. I don't need a great quarterback. This offense will work. I just need somebody that's good, doesn't have to be great, and will be fine. And it was based around what? Running the football, play action pass, motion, and that type of stuff. Ball-controlled offense, like McVay, like a lot of these other guys, and Shanahan. That was his pitch. Okay, sounds good. The problem is that this year, right now as we sit, this offensive line isn't good. And now Elton Jenkins just got the release from the Packers, has been placed on the injured reserve. So he's gone for at least 4 weeks. Okay? So now Sean Ryan is going to have to play center, and he has played guard. They didn't like him, so they put Jordan Morgan over there. He's played the other guard when Banks was hurt, and now he gets to be the starting center. If something happens to another offensive lineman, Zach Tom is moving if it has to be a center position, because I'm not quite sure what other options you have at this point, or you're going to have to bring in the rookie, Belton, the second-round pick, to come in and play guard or tackle if something else happens there. So in the grand scheme of things, yes, LaFleur's offense works, providing you have all the pieces necessary to make it work. Now, let's take it back to another angle. I said when talking about this offense, part of this is you have to be able to run the football effectively, and play action is a large part of what this offense is based on in doing something with it. Well, in the beginning of the year, the Green Bay Packers were using play action pass, and they were using it effectively. The problem is that they have gone away from their play action pass since the beginning of the year, which is something, again, I don't quite understand. When something works so well through the first 3 or 4 games, to completely almost abandon it is something that leaves me scratching my head, I guess, at this case, when you start talking about this offense and what has changed to this point, Tommy.
Yeah, and maybe that's another reflection on how poorly the run game has gone for Green Bay, and they don't have the faith in the play action game because of how poor the run game has been. And they're in their own head saying, we're not going to fool them because of our lack of execution in the running department. Why would we play action?
Here, it's Ty Carragher of the Packer Report.
Yep.
After 5 games, the Packers ranked 3rd in the NFL in play action rate. Jordan Love had a 128.0 passer rating on play action. In the 4 games since then, They rank 29th in the NFL in play action usage. The effectiveness hasn't fallen off. They've just stopped calling play action. Why?
Right. Well, and I'm going to look right now because I don't have the number just in front of me here. But the Green Bay Packers are in the back half of rushing yards per game as a team right now with 111 as a team. They're actually right next to the Philadelphia Eagles, who are averaging just 0.3 yards less right now. I think that there's another topic that needs to come from this offense, and it's something that Mason Crosby brings up a lot on his show, saying and talking about leadership from a player perspective. And I don't know if the team is constructed this way, but whenever you like to talk, they lost back-to-back home games back in 2010, right? We always love to go back and look at seasons past and compare it to seasons future. And when Mason Crosby does that, he's not in the locker room every day, so he doesn't quite have that vibe. But just from seeing and watching the game and understanding, knowing that you've been on that sideline, what a sideline looks like, he struggles to find the vocal leaders in the personnel department. And it seems like the Green Bay Packers have this identity that revolves around Matt LaFleur a little bit. And that was never really the case with a Mike McCarthy-led Packers team, right? You did have a superstar like Aaron Rodgers, but you also had guys like Charles Woodson on the defensive side, Clay Matthews for a long time there, countless wide receivers, whether it was Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, or Devontae Adams in recent years too. There were identities with players that were bigger than the head coach on your team that knew that they had a leadership role and a responsibility to be on that team. And I don't quite see that either once Mason points that out. When you talk about this Packers team, is it supposed to be Jordan Love? Probably, but he's a pretty soft-spoken, chill guy for a quarterback.
Matt LaFleur has vocally said last year the thing he was most happy about by the end of the year was Jordan Love being more vocal as a leader by the end of last year. That was the one thing LaFleur praised Jordan Love for growing in last year.
Yeah, and I can understand why he might have grown in that area, but is he anywhere near the level of the previous two guys that were at the quarterback position for the Green Bay Packers? I'm not
Probably not at this point, no.
Right. So I'm not saying that we have to compare him always to Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre, but you have to at least try to get to a level in some areas. And if you can't get to it with the arm talent and you can't get to it with the improvisation, you have to get there with the leadership as well. And that's not just a sly at Jordan Love, but I'm really searching for any of that on this Packers team. It feels like Micah Parsons slotted his way in and is doing his best at that role. But who else on that defense? Xavier McKinney has been very quiet this year.
Supposed to be Rashawn Gary,
and he was absent in yesterday's ball game too. So It's another thing that it might be a little more internal than what's just happening on the field, because I didn't look at it from that perspective until Mason would bring it up, but now it's something that it feels like he touches on every show. He's waiting for a little more vocal leadership out of this personnel group.
Nikolai Law, talking text line 414-677-1250. In Milwaukee, I disagree. If the players are making what they make, it's their responsibility for adjusting to the coaching style, period. And I don't feel bad for saying that.
It's kind of going back to that same line now of like, you got to hold players accountable at a point too. And don't get me wrong, I've been on this boat now for a week on what's going on with Matt LaFleur, but that's probably a personnel problem too.
Absolutely it is. But again, I think LaFleur is trying to coach it the way that he sold Mark Murphy on how he was going to coach it.
Right.
And the reason that you probably don't allow Jordan Love to be Aaron Rodgers is you don't want this offense to become something that you told them it wasn't going to be, which is relying on the quarterback to throw the ball a ton.
We had a caller earlier today too, though, that just said, I see why it didn't work out between Aaron and Matt, right?
Correct.
And now Matt feels that he has a lot of this control and a lot of this power in this position that he has, and maybe you have to relinquish some of it to gain control.
All right, coming up next, we're going to switch gears here because stay on the Packers. Charlie Sounds of the Day, not with Tommy Wirtz today, coming up in a little bit, but we've had people asking for Matt LaFleur to be fired. We've had people asking for Matt LaFleur to have play calling stripped. It was on the Green Bay football postgame show last night, powered by Lakeland University. It's been on Inside Wisconsin Sports this morning with Trevor and Mitch. People were calling for it. 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff. People were calling for it. I'm pretty sure it was happening on your show as well with Mason Crosby and Tommy Wirtz. And it's been happening on the text line. People have been calling in. Okay, you want Matt LaFleur out of that role? No problem. Who takes over? Who's your play caller? Who's going to change this offense and make this offense better than what it is under Matt LaFleur? Here we go. Your chance to play role of GM. Your chance to be Brian Gutekunst. Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. Don't forget, reach out to us on the socials. Follow us live streaming on X and on YouTube, as well as Instagram and Facebook. We're everywhere you want us to be at WI Sports Radio. Again, WI Sports Radio. In a world of tenders, Wendy's decided to make something more juicy, more crispy, and more dippable. New chicken tenders are here. Some may call them tendies, and yes, it's fun to say and even more fun to eat. And Wendy's new chicken tendies come with an insane new sauce lineup. New Wendy's signature, new sweet chili, or new scorching hot, or choose of the classics, honey barbecue, creamy ranch, or honey mustard. Whatever you choose, they're the perfect vessel to dip all of your tendies in. Wendy's new chicken tenders are so juicy, crispy, and dippable, you'll remember them forever. It gotta have tendies. It's gotta be Wendy's. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.
It's Jacobs. Flag flies. Jacobs is brought down, and the ball was out. Jalen Phillips made the tackle, and we'll see who the flag is against. If it's against Green Bay, it's Philly's ball.
Illegal formation. Green Bay, that's number 13, covered up number 88. The ruling on the field was a fumble recovered by Philadelphia. It's first down.
See, now that highlight courtesy of ESPN. And this leads right into our topic here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Sparky here. Tell me what's the other side of the glass. So many of you were mad about Matt LaFleur last night. And on that specific play, the last play, you had a defensive lineman for the Eagles. Literally, you could hear him on TV saying, inside zone right here, inside zone right here. I watched that play 10 or 15 times. Jacobs goes left. There's a chance for success. He went right, and that is exactly where they were all coming. And Jacobs, after the game, was talking about, hey, man, I knew they knew where I was going. Jordan Love heard him say it too. And Jordan Love said, hey, Matt LaFleur called that play. It wasn't me. I was just doing what Coach said. So that all around was a fiasco. Then Ben Solak puts a long video out. I mean, I'm not playing this whole long video, but he puts together like 5 plays this year in different games, including this one. And you look at the formation where Jacobs is offset to the quarterback, not sitting directly next to him, but offset to the quarterback. And in every situation on 3rd and short and 4th and short, it's the inside zone. So what happened? They were scouted up. They knew LaFleur's tendency in those situations, and they got it. That's on Matt LaFleur, too.
Specifically when it was hurry up as well, too. Remember that. Yeah, that's something that is totally read like a book, right? I mean, they had everyone ready to go, and you mentioned the comments from Josh Jacobs that it does change you as a runner in that moment. And when you're not getting the 100% Josh Jacobs, you're probably not calling that play either, Matt LaFleur. And why does Jordan Love not have the ability, or why did he not recognize to call out of that when you hear someone yelling inside zone here? Probably shouldn't run inside zone here. It's something also, I don't know if we brought it up on the show yet or if you saw it, but some news coming from Jordan Schultz. Asante Samuel signing with the Steelers, by the way.
Why?
That's just wanted to
Why
report
would you
that.
go to a crappy team when you could be with a team that actually might do something? And I know I lost 2 games in a row, Sparky. Pittsburgh stinks. Stop with all this Pittsburgh nonsense. Oh, they're good. I told you when the Packers beat them, they're not that good, and they're just proving it. They're not even going to win that stupid division at this point. They may miss the playoffs altogether before this thing is said and done.
Maybe you got a multi-year deal.
Aaron Rodgers, no chance. Aaron Rodgers is a shell of himself right now. Spinning out of the way, that was the worst game I've seen Aaron Rodgers play. He looks old and scared is how he looked. Overthrown, wide open receivers, and you decide to go there. Maybe they offered more money than anybody else for a 1-year deal, right, for the rest of the year. Maybe the Packers couldn't make it work like Pittsburgh. But damn, that's ridiculous. I mean, I'm happy he's in Pittsburgh versus, say, Detroit or Minnesota or somewhere in the division. I guess that's fine, but that would have been a real nice pickup for the Green Bay Packers had they been able to pull that one off. So the question is this. If not Matt LaFleur calling plays, then who should it be for the Packers? Nicolay Law, talk at text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250, on the socials at WI Sports Radio. Let's go to KJ in West Dallas. You're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's up, KJ?
Good afternoon, Sparky. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
First off, I want to send out a salute to all my brothers and sisters that are veterans today on Veterans Day. Thank you all for your service.
For sure.
I don't know what the Packers are going to do for our offensive coordinator. I think they're between a rock and a hard place. To me, they've lost their identity, Sparky. They were a run-first team starting this year off with Josh Jacobs.
They were a play-action team starting the year off, too, and that's gone into the trash basket.
Yeah, so both. So they don't know who they are. And that's a big problem. They can't establish the run. Therefore, the play action is not going to work because they're predictable,
right?
Like we've said for a while. And I think they're between a rock and a hard place. They've got to pretty much stay with Matt LaFleur, and he's either going to sink or swim at this point. And he's either going to, succeed or he's going to get fired. One or the other. I mean, but at this point, I guess that's all they have is to stick with him, because I doubt if they're going to try and go out and get an OC from anywhere else.
But they have internal options. Let me tell you what they are. Thanks for the call, KJ. I tweeted this out earlier today at Sparky Radio. 2 years ago, when this team was playing well with Jordan Love and were having their improbable run, one member of this coaching staff was in Chicago, being the offensive coordinator for the Bears, Luke Getsy. He was horrible. Then, 2 years ago, another member of this coaching staff, supposedly helping the defense, but still on this coaching staff, Nathaniel Hackett, was running a train wreck of an offense after Aaron Rodgers got hurt in the first snap of his time with the New York Jets. And that was toast. Now, I'm here to tell you, I'm not blaming Getsy and I'm not blaming Hackett. But if I was at policy, they're gone. Today, we're done. I don't think Jeff Hafley needs Hackett to coach his defense. He's done, and you're done, Luke Getsy. You're both weren't here the last time Love was good. I think there is something to too many chefs in the kitchen. And this is a situation where clearly I think this is the case. Now, if they wanted to strip Matt LaFleur of play calling duties, there are two guys right there that have NFL experience as play callers if they wanted to let somebody else call the games. I don't know what you want, but I'm telling you this. I don't want either one of those two calling plays for Jordan Love at this point, Tommy Words.
No, I completely understand why, because there hasn't been a great track record with Jordan Love or in the NFL in recent memory. You remember when we had this conversation? It feels like, I think we had it last year, but this is not new with the Green Bay Packers.
No, he brings all of his friends in.
Well, and on top of it, with struggling with identity over the last few years, right? Because we brought it up last year, we saw 4 different Jordan Loves. We saw first half of first-year Jordan Love, second half of first-year Jordan Love. And that's when it was, okay, we're going to try Aaron Jones. And then it was, Jordan Love might be a more valuable option on the offense. Then last year it was, all right, well, let's open this thing up with Jordan Love because we saw what he did in the second half of last year.
And then he got hurt twice.
Then he got hurt, and then it became, oh, look at how good Josh Jacobs is. Let's switch it over and go to Josh Jacobs. Now, again, we're in this same boat of, maybe we're going to try Jordan Love on the offense, but really we want to establish it with Josh Jacobs. Play action looks really cool, but now we're going to get away from that because our offensive line sucks and we got to try something different. Like every year of Jordan Love, we have never seen a full season of Jordan Love in one element of the offense. Correct. Now, maybe the greats are always adapting, but it sure feels like Patrick Mahomes runs his offense the entire year. Josh Allen runs his offense the entire year. There is never any room for switching things up or trying something new. This isn't what elite quarterback play and elite teams do on the offensive side, and it's something Green Bay has struggled with for 3 years now in Green Bay.
If not Matt LaFleur calling plays, then who should it be for the Green Bay Packers? Nicolay Law, talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Rick in Waukesha, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's up, Rick?
Hey, isn't our offensive line been like crap for I don't know how many years now? That
offensive line was pretty good last year, but it's definitely not good this year.
Well, I don't know about last year. They couldn't make any holes for Jacobs. And if Jordan doesn't have any time to throw the ball, how is that LaFleur's fault? Our offensive line stinks.
It does.
Yeah, it does. And everybody's blamed. Okay, same thing with Justin Fields when he was in Chicago. He couldn't have enough time to throw the ball, or they couldn't make a hole for the running back, but right away they got to get a new quarterback. Isn't this the same kind of thing that we're doing in Green Bay, dumping on the coach? How about we dump on the offensive line coach?
Or Brian
How about
Gutekunst,
this
who
fuck
put
gets
this
fired?
offensive line together. The GM is the one that put this offensive line together, so he should not
Right,
escape
okay,
criticism
and that-
either.
Okay, but that's my point too. Okay, we drafted offensive linemen. Did we not? Did we not draft a center?
No.
So why is
Well,
Jacobs playing center?
yes, last year, yes.
Yeah,
The Jacob Monk.
Okay, so then why is Jacobs playing center?
He was
Why
inactive.
don't we put them guys, put them in the line and let them play and let them earn their bones instead of getting their heads cracked? So what?
All right, Rick, let's have a conversation, okay? I think they made a conscious decision to change the dynamic of this offensive line to be that more of the Philadelphia Eagles in the offseason. You move Jenkins inside in place of Myers to get more physical at the center position. Then you go sign a mammoth human being in Aaron Banks, who has been not healthy and stinks. He now is your left guard. You draft an even bigger human being in Belton, Mr. Escalade, to come in and eventually play guard or tackle. You have your right guard in Jordan Morgan, who's supposed to be the left tackle of the future, but you're playing him because of size as well. And this whole thing backfired on him. Thanks for the call. They made a decision to change the offensive line, and it completely backfired. And that's what it is. Now, is that on Luke Butkus, the offensive line coach? Is that on Adam Stenovich, the former offensive line coach, who's now the offensive coordinator, for not coaching him up well enough? Is it about the injuries? Zach Tom has been playing with an oblique injury for weeks. For weeks, I tell you. He is not the same dude, man. Ain't happening. Banks has been dealing with injuries too. I don't know how hurt he is, but he can't stay on the field, so he may be playing hurt too. And now Jenkins is on the IR as of today, a little after 3 o'clock. So he's gone now for 4 weeks.
And now in 1 year, Rasheed Walker doesn't know how to play football anymore?
Wow.
Because now it feels like he felt like, oh, I'm going to get replaced,
Correct.
so why do I care what I'm doing here?
Or he's hurt and he's trying to play through whatever he's got. I mean, at this point, I wouldn't put anything past anybody. Sparky in Menominee, Michigan. Here up next here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's up, man?
Hey, I'm just calling. I know you guys are, or a lot of people are hating on the offensive line, the quarterback, the coach. But I think a lot of the big problem is the receivers in general. We have a lot of receivers that are 3, 4, and 5 receivers in the league. We don't have a true number 1 or a true number 2. With all these drop passes for 2 or 3 years, we've never had a receiver since Devontae Adams, Jordy Nelson, someone that is a huge playmaker that when they throw a ball, even a 50-50 ball, they're coming down with it. We don't have those guys, and that's obviously hurting, Jordan Love. That's hurting, Jacobs. That's hurting, offensive play calling, because now you're trying to play the guys or coach the guys of their caliber. We don't have high caliber weapons, and that's huge. And we don't have that, and that's one of the big problems that you see last night with drop balls. I think a lot of people will be saying, oh, Jordan Love, didn't complete this. And yes, he did miss wide open receivers, but there's also receivers last night that dropped potential first downs.
Yep.
That'd be a way different a scheme of plays for a first down when they're on the 30-yard line versus fourth down on the 45-yard line. A lot of things went wrong last night, but ultimately it's not just the quarterback and LaFleur. It's receivers cannot make plays, and until we get receivers that can make plays, Packers are not winning. They're going to be a 750 team, and that's about as good as it's going to get.
All right, Sparky, thanks for the call. Hey, I love Potawatomi. Potawatomi's giving away over $300,000 in prizes. It's autumn action, baby. Yep, you heard that right. Over $300,000 in prizes, courtesy of our friends over at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Autumn action runs through November 20th. You're going to entries playing with your rewards card. Prize drawings happen on Thursdays between 5 and 8. If you win, you get to pick your prize from the prize board. All leftover prizes go into the rollover jackpot drawing. For more info, go online at Potawatomi.com. Must be 21 years of age or older and a rewards member to play. If Matt LaFleur's not calling plays, then who should it be? Got to get to some of the text messages coming in. More calls as well. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.
Now here are the Packers in field goal range for Brandon McManus, but they want more. 31 seconds left, one timeout. Sean Ryan at center. Blitz. Love in trouble. And able to get rid of the ball. Was it a fumble or a pass? He had Jacobs to his left. And yeah, that ball's out. That's a fumble.
It was a fumble highlight courtesy of ESPN. Packers lose 10-7. Talking about if not Matt LaFleur calling plays, then who should it be for the Packers? As Wisconsin Sports Daily served up by Wendy's here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Sparky with you. Tommy Wirtz, other side of the glass. Back to the Nicolay Law Talking text line here. Let's go to Otis in New Berlin. You're next. What's going on, Otis?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man.
All right. Happy Veterans Day to everybody out there. I just want to say, I take this stuff to heart. I'm a little worked up, a little angry. Let's be honest, though. LaFleur, don't see him giving up play calling duties. Whether they retain him next year or not, do we realistically see the guy ceding that? I doubt it. In my perfect world, yeah, he's got a little drama with him, but John Gruden signed me up for him, whether or not LaFleur stays. Probably not going to happen. Again, that's kind of pipe dream stuff. See what happens with Dable or even McDaniel out in Miami. But I just want to say this. I just really don't see LaFleur giving it up. I'll keep it quick here, too. What I noticed, too, when LaFleur is calling a good game, then Love is off. When Love is dropping dimes, that's when LaFleur kind of craps the bed. And also, too, they complain about LaFleur, complain about Love. LaFleur didn't run any of those BS wide receiver screens this week, not a single one. One shovel pass to Savion Williams. It was less smoke and mirrors, more smash mouth this week. That was fine. We just got to get everything. We got to get LaFleur calling plays right. We got to get McCarthy.
Not McCarthy. Otis, thanks for the call, man. I got to run. We're up against the break. I went that last segment too long, so I apologize about that. Coming up next, Peter Bukowski, Leap Newsletter, Locked On Packers podcast coming up next with our Green and Gold update brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
It is time again as we broadcast live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. Tommy Wirtz in for Charlie Usen, off again today. He was at the game last night at Lambeau, him and his girl. Can't wait to hear the stories of their experiences tomorrow when he joins us back on the show. My thanks to Tommy Wirtz for pulling a couple double shifts and working the show the last couple of days. He's been awesome as usual, and he's been stuck with me for a long time because we did this show yesterday, then we did the Green Bay football postgame show last night. If you want to hear something, that was something last night. Wherever you download your favorite podcast at, go check that out. As well as anything else you're listening to right inside Wisconsin Sports, 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Ronnie Maclaw, from the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Thunder Nellis, or this show, Wisconsin Sports Daily. Always available to you wherever you download your favorite podcast at. Time now to do what we always do at 4 o'clock.
It's time for your green and gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
Well, looking at Peter Bukowski joining us now, I'm not sure if I can really get down with this interview. Week newsletter, Locked On Packers. Follow him on Twitter at Peter_Bukowski, joining us on the guest hotline. Part by Gruber Law. You know why, right?
Oh, Peter, you might be too hot to be a podcaster.
This might not work. It might not work. Earlier in the show, somebody killed Matt LaFleur for his hair, caring more about his hair than the football team, and said that's a big problem here. They cares more about that. He's like, look at Sirianni. Look at what he looked like. I was like, well, there's a difference between not giving a crap how you look and then really caring how you look. One does not have anything to do with the other, in my mind, Peter Bukowski. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
I appreciate being here, as always. There is something funny to me, though. I feel like if Matt LaFleur looked different, he would get a different level of benefit of the doubt from the fan base. Like if he looked like Dan Campbell, they would have already built the statue, I feel like. But because he looks like he's a J. Crew model, it feels different. And so, the fact that he's got his manicured eyebrows and he's got the hair always just so, it's always, and apparently he cuts his own hair. So, but I would say, isn't that a person who is an exacting details person? And ironically, if the team had the details that his hair and his eyebrows did, they'd be the best team in football right now. Unfortunately, they don't.
Okay, so this is something I want to ask you, because I brought this up earlier in the show, and I want to get your thoughts, because I don't have an explanation. Dyer Carragher, who you know as well, and I'm sure you probably follow him on Twitter as well, he pointed this out earlier today. After 5 games, the Packers ranked 3rd in the NFL in play action rate. Jordan Love had a 128 passer rating on play action. In 4 games since those first 3, they ranked 29th in play action usage. That is a conscious decision that Matt LaFleur made to stop doing that. And I want to know why, Peter Bukowski.
I have absolutely no idea why. I cannot explain it. I really can't. And I think, if I'm being maximally generous to Matt LaFleur, and I don't try to be necessarily, but I feel like his thing is they want to go play action and hit shots. And if you feel like your offensive line can't pass protect, 40% pressure rate from Jordan Love yesterday, then you can't do those sorts of things where you want to take those shot plays. Weirdly, last night when they protected, they went 6 offensive linemen. They hit 2 shots to Christian Watson last night with 6 offensive linemen on the field, play action. This has been a trend now around the league. The Bills do this. The Eagles do this. The Lions do this. The Bears do this, where you get in those heavy personnel, you run the ball a little bit, and you're really just running the ball enough so that when you want to go to those play action opportunities, those linebackers are flying forward. I don't know why, as a team that runs the ball as much as this team does, you would go away from play action. The whole point of running the ball in the year of our Lord 2025 is to play action, and is to play action into shot plays. And to Darius' point, they're really good at it. And it's foundational to what Matt LaFleur's offense wants to be. So I don't have an explanation for it. And if you want more on this, this is going to lead our show on Locked On Packers tomorrow, that play action is the saving grace for this offense. If they choose, this is like Matt LaFleur, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is more play action. That has to be the way this team moves forward, because there's just, everything else is too hard right now. And they're not good enough, frankly, executing to do the other stuff.
Okay, Peter. So another thing that was brought up earlier that I thought was an interesting point was, look, Sparky, they're not running the ball all that great anyhow. Why not just let Jordan Love wing it with the wide receivers he has? You saw him do it in the second half of his first year, and it was just fine. It feels like Matt LaFleur is trying to coach us into being something that doesn't match up with the talent that he currently has right now. What say you?
It does seem like he is trying to coach the team he wants to have, not the team he has. I will say, though, going back to 2021, all this stuff, second down runs, I'm having deja vu, because in 2021, early in that season, in the middle of that season, I remember the questions being asked of Matt LaFleur: why do you insist on running on second and long so much? And his answer was, if teams are going to play light boxes, we have to try and run the ball. And my answer to that now in 2025 is, no, you don't. You have to find something else, because the offensive line is just not good enough to run the ball. And here's really the problem to me, Sparky, is if you could create explosives in the run game, I think you can justify sticking with it. The Lions are a run-heavy team. But guess what? Jahmyr Gibbs can go for 70 anytime he touches the ball. Josh Jacobs can't do that. Now, Jordan Love, anytime you drop back to throw, you could hit a 50-yard play. That same sort of threat does not exist in the run game. And so I think that's part of the tension here of this offense. One of the things that they did in 2021, which I loved, before Randall Cobb got hurt, remember Cobb got hurt against the Rams in like about week 12, around Thanksgiving that year. They were going to some 4 receiver sets to say, okay, you want to play too high, we're going to make everyone on the field cover. Well, when they're healthy, don't they have the receivers to do that?
Yes.
Put 4 of them on the field and a running back, and go from there. Put Chris Brooks on the field so you can actually freaking pass protect and, give yourself a chance here. At some point, you're banging your head against the wall trying to make this work without adapting. Matt LaFleur has been so good at adapting over his career. I don't know why we're not seeing more adaptation this season.
Tom and Peter Bukowski, Leap newsletter, Locked On Packers pod, coming out tomorrow. Follow him on Twitter at Peter_Bukowski. Another simple thing that fans have heard for our entire lives is, well, when they play cover 2, take the tight end, run him up the middle of the field, and bust that bad boy up. Did they do that enough in your mind with Luke Musgrave last night?
Well, so they were in a lot of too high, but it wasn't always like true Tampa 2. Now, they did have opportunities in the middle of the field. It wasn't all Luke Musgrave. They had Christian Watson up the seam one of the times. This is where Jaden Reed has been really, really productive in his NFL career against these too high looks out of the slot. I felt like they did not do enough of Christian Watson trying to get over the top. You can beat too high coverage. This was a big thing on Twitter last week. Like, you can beat quarters, those too high looks, but you're splitting it into quarters of the field if you can influence the safety, the other safety, and then you run a big post across the top. That's how the Eagles scored a touchdown.
The quarterback needs time, however, to throw that ball.
Quarterback needs time to get there. And so this is the inherent conflict in this offense right now is how are you pass protecting well enough to get to those big concepts that they want to get to? The answer is play action, but they won't do it. By the way, Jordan Love, I just looked at the numbers as we were talking, averaged over 11 yards an attempt on play action on Monday, but in terms of attempts, like middle of the league in terms of attempts, like that kind of stuff just can't happen. It's the same with the intermediate throws. Jordan Love has been great throwing the middle of the field and on that 10 to 19 yard range. They just don't do it. Now, unfortunately, they did it a couple times on Monday and guys dropped the ball. So that's problematic too. But this play action thing, like the answer, unfortunately, doesn't make for great radio. The answer to all your questions about this offense, play action, play action, play action.
The other part about this that has been brought up has been trust. And that is something that's been talked about. And from different angles, right? So people don't think Matt LaFleur trusts Jordan Love. That's why he won't open it up. People think that Jordan Love isn't trusting his offensive line because he looked a little spooked, if we're being honest, probably last night from time to time. And Josh Jacobs certainly cannot trust his offensive line. He's getting hit behind the line of scrimmage, I think, more than anybody in the league at this point. So trust, that word seems to be a big issue with this offense.
It is. I mean, and this is the problem right now that you have. You can have all the best, and look, you know I like the nerd stats, and I get teased about it. I a lot, and I'm fine with it because I believe in them. But right now, it is hard to watch this team and go, the numbers don't make sense to me. They just don't make sense that all the numbers are so good. That locker room does not give a what about DVOA or EPA per play. Yep. They don't care. Just like basketball players don't care about shot. Like, I guess now they're finally coming around on the idea of shot quality and all that kind of stuff. But 5 years ago, if you said the word shot quality to an NBA player, they would go, what are you talking about? And so, like, that stuff is not going to keep your faith in Matt LaFleur. If you don't get this fixed, the players are going to start looking at Matt going, why should we trust you? Why should we play hard for you? Why should we play with confidence in your play calls? There's a reason that Aaron Rodgers at late stage, Mike McCarthy started changing all the plays. I mean, what did Mercedes Lewis say on the podcast? Like 70% of the plays were getting changed at the line of scrimmage in 2018 because no one trusted Mike McCarthy to do the job. And so this is why it is so imperative for Matt LaFleur to figure this out.
But there's a big difference. There's a big difference. This quarterback, even if he doesn't trust the coach, can't change the plays based on what they're doing here. Rodgers was going to do whatever he wanted.
He has a limited menu of things he can change it to, right? Like
not like Aaron.
A lot of the plays you can, right? I would like to see them. Coach Jeff Jagosinski is on our squad show, and he calls it team pass. He's great. I was just on the phone with him for 25 minutes breaking down like two of the concepts, and he just like wouldn't shut up. I loved it. It was so great.
I love Jags.
Jags is great. And so he calls it a team pass. So you need more of the pass. Like get in the huddle. This is a pass play where you can't, hey, we've got a nice light box. Let's run it. No, you got to throw the ball. And so I think sometimes Matt LaFleur, Dusty Evely is the guy that said this, and it sticks in my brain all the time. Matt LaFleur lets good be the enemy of great, or great be the enemy of the good. You try and get to the perfect play every time. And sometimes that's the worst thing you can try and be, is perfect every play. Football is an imperfect game. Matt LaFleur said that about Lucas Van Ness. And so a little bit of like physician heal thyself on this to me.
Can I just say, we are really blessed, even though fans may not realize how many smart people we have doing film analysis and breaking stuff down.
Really
I mean,
great.
there are so many talented people that talk Packers. I mean, Dusty Evely is one of my favorite. I love Dusty Evely. So yeah, I just want to point that out. All right, I got another one. In the offseason, it appeared to me, not sure about you, that they made a conscious decision to change what this offensive line was going to be.
Yeah.
It appeared we were going to be Philadelphia. That was the goal. So here's Jenkins at center. That really hadn't worked out. Now we sign a massive human being in Aaron Banks who can stay healthy. Not sure how much pain he's in. He's out there. He's not playing very well. Zach Tom's at right tackle. You took a first-round pick on Jordan Morgan, got nowhere to play him, so we're going to stuff him in at right guard to justify that selection. And then you draft another massive human being in Belton in the second round to continue to emphasize what you're trying to do. It appears the philosophy that they use in the offseason has backfired to this point. Agree or not?
I don't know if it's the philosophy that has backfired. I think I'm fine with the philosophy of trying to get bigger, badder, meaner, stronger on the offensive line. You just didn't evaluate the talent very well, it seems. And I think there's also a question here of, are you putting the guys in the right spots? Like, let's go back to training camp. I was flagging this in real time. It brings me no pleasure. This is one of the rare times it brings me no pleasure to be right about this thing. But I was going in training camp. Why are you letting Jordan Morgan take all these reps at left tackle if you're not going to actually let him compete to play left tackle? He played well in camp. And then they just said, no, Rasheed Walker's the left tackle. Jordan Morgan, you got to play right guard now. Well, then why didn't he play right guard all of training camp? Why are you're setting him up to fail in those moments? It just doesn't make any sense. Oh, against the Bengals. The Browns, Zach Tom, he's going to try and gut it out. And on the very first drive, he goes out. Well, you're going to take Jordan Morgan, who practiced at guard all week, and now he's going to be your right tackle instead of putting in Anthony Belton, who had just started at right tackle the week before. I don't know why we would have the benefit of the doubt with this team and making those decisions. Think back to 2021. At the end of that year, They have a decision to make with David Bakhtiari, who goes down week 18. It can't finish the game. And so now they got to figure out what the offensive line looks like. And they move people around in ways that to me never made sense. Like, oh, let's make Billy Turner play left tackle and move this guy here. And then you got Rick Wagner playing right. Like that never worked. It never made sense. And they have consistently gotten these things wrong. God forbid you have an offensive coordinator who doesn't call plays, who used to be an offensive line coach, to help make these sorts of decisions. Oh, wait, the Packers have one of those. Adam Stenavich, what is it you say you do here exactly?
He helps game planning. Peter Bukowski of the Leap Newsletter, Locked On Packers
By the way,
podcast.
one of the worst script teams in the NFL this year, 30th in success rate on opening drives. If he helps game plan, what is he doing? How is he helping?
You're leading right into what I want to talk about, what we were talking about. Because last night on the post-game show, all day today on all of our shows, people either want LaFleur fired, they want LaFleur stripped of play calling, and so forth. So I said, okay, cool. Matt LaFleur, step aside. Who are we going to have call plays? Who do y'all want? And I pointed out, something I pointed out earlier today, 2 years ago when Jordan Love was great, in the second half of that year, one member of this staff was calling plays for the Bears horribly. Luke Getsy. He's not here. Another member of the staff who apparently is helping the defense, they say, regardless, he was being horrible at his job with the New York Jets calling plays. They're both now in this building. And I said it before, and I'll say it. If I was at policy, I'm not stripping Matt LaFleur, and I'm not firing Matt LaFleur. But those two guys, out you go. Because the last time we were good on offense, you two weren't in the same room, possibly putting thoughts into his head about what he should be doing. And I'm just going to remove y'all from the situation because you both came from losing scenarios, and now my offense is all screwed up since you came back into the building because he hires his friends, which I get. To me, that makes the most sense. That's where I start, Peter Bukowski.
The nepotism is such a Shanahan tree thing too. Kyle Shanahan loves him some him. Believes, okay, I got my guys. And that's why I would love, it's why I brought up the name Brian Daboll. By the way, I had a source tell me you don't want that guy in your building. And so that's a different conversation to be having here. But like they need an offensive coordinator who can bring a different voice, not someone to challenge LaFleur necessarily. But that's what I thought Nathaniel Hackett, for whatever issues there were back in 2019, 2020, there was his knowledge in marrying what Aaron Rodgers liked to do with what Matt LaFleur wanted to do, gave us this beautiful marriage for 2 years. The Gold Zone 2020 was that was beautiful, beautiful offense. It turns out Nathaniel Hackett on his own, not a very good coach at all. They need whatever the 2025 version of Nathaniel Hackett is to come in and just say, let's get some fresh ideas here, some fresh perspective, because I think what happens is, when all you do is promote from within, which is what they do here, you're not getting new ideas. You can stagnate. And I think whether it's offensive line, whether it's a new passing game coordinator, now I hesitate to even bring this up because it's going to, make some fans sad. But like if Jeff Hafley gets a head coaching job, if Jeff Hafley ends up being the New York Giants coach in 6 months, he might take Adam Stenavich with him. He might take Jason Vrabel's with him. And so now you have you have the chance to replace those guys. I think it's more likely something like that happens than anyone gets fired. But we'll I guess we'll see.
I'll make more people upset then. So do you want to start it? I'll finish this. If they don't make the playoffs, he's gone. If they go to the playoffs and they get beat in the first round, there's a good chance he's gone if they don't win a game in the playoffs. Let's say that happens and he's gone. I know who I want. And I don't like this dude at all. I'm not a fan of this dude at all. But if we're talking about getting the offense going, getting Jordan Love going, and figuring out a way to match this offense to what this defense is, yeah, I want the cocky one. Bring me Lane Kiffin. Let's see what. Right now, he's the favorite to get that Giants job. And the odds, he's covering his face. He's so just disturbed by this. He's the favorite to get the Giants job. So because he coached Jackson Dart, obviously, in college. So Lane Kiffin makes sense for the Giants job to match him with Jackson Dart. But if we're being honest, if we want somebody that's out there, that's younger, can relate to these young guys, so forth, hey, man, again, I'm not a fan. I don't like the dude. But would he be good for this offense and these young receivers and what they're trying to do and Jordan Love? He can develop offenses. Yeah,
But you
think
want-
it's Lane. I think
if
it's
you're
Lane
firing
Kiffin.
Matt LaFleur because they're coming up short in big games, and you're going to hire the college coach who is notorious for coming up small in big games. Like, what are we doing here?
Also
That's
cares
fair.
a lot more about his appearance than way more
Yeah,
other college
if
coaches.
we're going to do that,
Yeah.
like
Lane Kiffin's way
Come
too
on.
hot for you, Sparky.
and
way
also,
too
and
hot.
also way too on social media. I do not want a social media coach. Get off social media. What if I just gave you this? This is the topic du jour. I feel like on socials, I'm seeing a lot of people say, "Hey, at the end of the year, is it going to be worth losing Jeff Hafley to keep Matt LaFleur?" That is going to be the question that I think people ask if this goes sideways. And so, like, can I interest you in head coach Jeff Hafley, offensive coordinator, play caller Mike McDaniel? Can I interest you in that?
Sure. But this is the thing. Like, and
You were
this is
so
why
unmoved by that.
He's
You
going
were
to take
so
one look at his
unmoved.
pants and say no.
I'm just gonna say this, and I'm consistent on this. I don't want a defensive guy as my head coach. I have no interest because if Mike McDaniel gets Jordan Love going, what's going to happen? He's going to go get another head coaching job.
Yeah.
We recycle in the NFL, so he's going to go get another head coaching job. To your point, if Hafley leaves and he takes Stenovich, McDaniel will be the offensive coordinator for Matt LaFleur next year, and McDaniel calls plays.
I mean, I love that.
I think that's more of a realistic possibility.
The best, if we're really wish casting now, if we're really going to fantasy book this,
sure.
The Packers offense catches a rhythm late in the season. They go on a run. Whatever happens. Ideally, it's a Super Bowl, but you have a nice run. Jeff Hafley gets the job and Mike McDaniel comes in. Like that could be the thing that puts them over the top, because I think those two together, Mike McDaniel once called Matt LaFleur the best human he's ever met.
LaFleur got him back into the NFL after he screwed it all up.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, it would be a fun thing. I would like it. I would like to see it. I would hate to lose Jeff Hafley, but I would love to see Mike McDaniel with this offense. They need some new ideas. They need some fresh perspectives in Green Bay. And that's why I like, okay, let's bring in Big Bob Saleh and just see if he can help a little bit. Like, I liked Aubrey Pleasant 2 years ago. Let's see what he can do. It's why I would say, like, hey, any other coach that's going to be fired out there, we're going to get some here soon. Just come in, give us some fresh ideas, give us a fresh look at all of this, because people love to bring up the Lombardi thing. I feel like this has stagnated a bit for the Packers right now. And I think that they have really good coaches. They're really good coaches, especially Matt LaFleur is not coaching like a really good coach. And I don't have a good explanation for why that is.
Locked On Packers podcast tomorrow. Peter Bukowski, our guy Brandon Snide hangs out and does that.
Squad show Wednesdays.
Jeff Jagosinski, who is just so cool and so awesome. Former play caller, former head coach at Boston College. Does a great job with those guys too. Peter, thank you so much for coming on. Always fun.
All right. Thanks.
Take care. There he is, Peter Bukowski, Leap Newsletter, Locked On Packers. Follow him on Twitter at Peter_Bukowski. That is Green and Gold Update, brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. And of course, I love Potawatomi. Potawatomi is giving away over $300,000 in prizes. It's Autumn Action. Yeah, you heard that right. Over $300,000 in prizes, courtesy of our friends over at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Autumn Action runs now through the 20th, and you can have entries playing with your rewards card. Prize drawings happen on Thursdays between 5 and 8 p.m. If you win, you get to pick your prize from the prize board. All leftover prizes go into a rollover jackpot drawing. For more info, go online at Potawatomi.com. Must be 21 years of age or older and a rewards member to play. Coming up next, we were supposed to do it at 3:40. We got all screwed up. So Charlie's Sounds of the Day comes up next. Tommy taking the controls here for that. Straight ahead, Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. When the Bucks win, you win at Wendy's, and they won last night. After every Bucks win, stop by any participating Wisconsin Wendy's for a free small vanilla or chocolate frosty classic. No purchase necessary. This offer is only good for 24 hours after a win, so act fast. Get that free small frosty classic at Wendy's. I said earlier in the show, briefly, because we didn't really talk about the Bucks at all today, Kyle Kuzma last night, what do you have, 26, something like that last night. And unbelievably, a great game that nobody probably watched because everybody was watching the Packer game. While we were talking to Peter Bukowski, okay, I look over at the Nicolay Law talking text line, and this is the text I get from the 414. Kuz is more clutch to the Bucks than J-Love has been of quarterback for the inept Packers offense. Did not have on my bingo card a Kuzma play versus Jordan Love today on this show.
You didn't
see it coming.
You didn't even disavow it. That's the crazy part right there.
Man, Kyle Kuzma is playing way better than I thought he would. Now, like I said last year with that Dairy Bird character, I'm not convinced this is going to go on very long before he's going to hit his slump and we're going to go back to what we were. But right now, if Kuzma plays the way he's playing all year, this team could have a chance to do something. But he has to continue to play this level. He is playing at a level that I think everybody thought he was capable of playing at, has the talent to play at, and just simply for whatever reason has not been able to figure it out to this point.
What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, it's brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement of the sports season on Prize Picks. Whether you're a football fan, a basketball fan, or a fan of both like I am, it always feels good to be right. I wish I could tell you that I was right again last night. I was not right again last night. In fact, Tommy Wirtz and I were talking about this Prize Picks lineup and how I jinxed the you-know-what out of it. I had 4 players. Now, you can flex play in this bad boy, right? So if you have a lineup and all you're doing is picking more or less, it's daily fantasy on stat projections. I had 4 stat projections. I had more than a half a rushing yard for Josh Jacobs. Got it. I had Saquon Barkley more than 76.5 rushing yards. He had 60. I missed. Okay, I'm still alive. I can miss one, still get my flex play. Jordan Love more than 1.5 passing touchdowns. Not a single damn one. Jalen Hurts more than 1.5 passing touchdowns. He got one. 3 out of 4 wrong. And a game that everybody thought was going to be high scoring. I single-handedly, with my Prize Picks lineup, turned on its head and said, not today.
Yeah, good job. This is what you do every time.
I'm telling you, I could go to Vegas and be the cooler. These casinos could pay me a lot of money. I would cool down any poker table, any craps table, anything.
No,
blackjack.
If anyone was listening, they would fade every single thing you say. Like more on this, I'm taking the under. Less on this, I'm taking the over.
On Prize Picks now, you can follow other Prize Pick players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click.
Yeah.
You're saying you would not copy mine?
No, I think if I did the exact opposite, I'd come up a lot more. Which is helpful because you give me perspective on what I should be thinking of, in a positive way.
I'm not sure if I say you're welcome or not. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code Sparky to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Sparky, SPARKY, to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. All right, where are we going first?
Yes. So yesterday I kind of did my little spin on it. Today I tried impersonating Charlie as hard as I can. We're going to listen to Colin Cowherd talk about Micah Parsons today on the Herd. And Micah did clap back, but I'll read that to you after we listen to the clip from Mr. Collins.
I don't know if you noticed this last night with Micah Parsons. He didn't have a sack. He didn't have a quarterback hit. Let me check the stats. Oh, it's the second straight game. No sacks, no quarterback hits. Remember when the Cowboys traded him? The reaction was completely over the top. You were only allowed one opinion. Oh, this is a heist for the backers. Oh, they stole him from Jerry and the Cowboys. But there was this one singular voice in the American sports landscape. Just a tiny, humble voice from a tiny, humble man, me, who said,
"Oh yeah, humble and Colin Cowherd."
I get it.
Sure. That's it.
I get it. I've seen Micah get engulfed by good left tackles. What are his playoff numbers? There's a way to go at Micah. Yeah, remember that? I was the one guy that raised his hand and said, I got a couple first-round picks and Kenny Clark. All right. Green Bay last season through 9 games, 6-3. Green Bay this season through 9 with Micah, 5-3-1.
Has nothing to do
Dallas
with
last year through 9 games, 3-6. Dallas this year through 9, 3-5-1.
So that was, I cut it off from there because it was about 3 minutes long.
This is my thing. That dude just won I think he won a Marconi or something for like best sports caster in the country, which is crazy talk to me. But either way, regardless, yes, you can make numbers look however you want them to make them look in order to make yourself look better. I get that. But the reason they have the record they have is not because of Micah Parsons, right? No. If it was because of Micah Parsons and this defense, they may now have lost a game to this point outside of the Cowboys. So 1 loss. So outside of that game, this defense has been in a position to have won every game for this Packers offense had it been that way. And like Colin Cowherd, I agree. Haven't really seen a ton of Micah Parsons the last 2 games. Then you see the Pro Football Focus numbers today. Micah Parsons had 7 hurries, rushes, whatever you want to call it, on the quarterback yesterday. I don't remember 7. But that's what they say he had. So that's a significant impact on the game if that's true, Tommy Words.
We just held Saquon Barkley to 60 rushing
Who's
yards.
this, Micah Parsons?
And our only losses have been holding teams to 13 points. Man, sometimes I can't, y'all. Please, ST blank you. Enjoy great defense. Why do you think teams come into the games that we are going to running the ball on 3rd and long? What effect do you think that is? Please stop giving people mics or listening to this trash.
There is a part of me that wishes guys wouldn't respond to this. I don't think it benefits anybody because all this is going to do is get Cowherd all the more fired up, read that tomorrow, and then have more to say. Like you're just throwing gas on a fire is all you're doing at this point when you're an athlete or anybody responding back. That's all that happens. Or you end up being Stephen A. Smith going after every single female person that's worked with you in your career at some point or another on a podcast. Now he's going after Carrie Champion. He's going after Michelle Beadle. Like everybody that's worked with him that's left, Stephen A. Smith has gone after because he responds to everything they say, which in reality, just shut up. Just whatever. It doesn't matter. They're not on TV anymore. Let's see what they got to say. They're not in the realm anymore. I mean, Michelle Beadle's on Run It Back, fine, but yeah, I don't understand why people react sometimes the way they do. Go ahead.
If I had a Marconi vote, I would give it to Steve Pfeiffer. Next, moving on. We'll switch things up. We'll talk a little baseball. Yeah, you and me, both baseball guys as well, but we know how big football is. Ken Rosenthal had an interesting question pop up on his Fair Territory, part of the Foul Territory Network, in regards to small markets being involved in trading this offseason.
Which team do you think is most likely to part with their prospects in order to better their major league roster? Always a good question, and one, Richard, that is kind of difficult to answer because I don't know what teams exactly are thinking. But I would say this. The Mets are a team that have built their farm system in recent years, especially under David Stearns. They're in a position now where they can make some trades. The Dodgers have a strong farm system. They certainly can make some trades. But what would be more intriguing would be if we saw teams like, for instance, the Marlins and the Pirates do some things to better themselves by trading from their depth of prospects. And I do believe that is possible. Yesterday, in talking to some people here, just the first day of the GM meetings, actually, it wasn't even the first day. People were just getting in. I heard that the Marlins and Pirates are telling agents, hey, we'd like to be aggressive. We'd like to spend a little bit. Now, that can be in free agency, or it can be in the matter of taking on salaries in trades. So I don't know the exact answer to your question, Richard, but I do expect that we're going to see some of this kind of activity, and not just from the big spending teams that have tons of prospects. You may see it from some other clubs as well.
So he talked about it from a prospect pool. I'm thinking of teams that have a fantastic prospect pool with the rumors of maybe being involved in the trade because they don't get involved in free agency all that often. Milwaukee Brewers, Mr. Pfeiffer?
Before I get to that, do you know what stinks? That report stinks. Like smells to high heaven. The reason that it smells is not because Ken Rosenthal isn't good at doing his job or that Ken Rosenthal isn't reporting the facts, because he is. What I smell here is some type of conspiracy theory that I'm going to roll out there. Funny how two of the teams that don't ever spend money going into a year in which the CBA is about to blow up at the end of the year, now all of a sudden want to spend some money prior to this. To me, it feels like some type of strategy from the owners of what they're planning to say to the players at the end of the day, going into this lockout strike or whatever the hell this is going to be at the end of the 26th season. So that kind of sucks because I think that's what this is all leading up to. To the Brewers' standpoint, Jeff Passan today on ESPN put out 21 things he'd like to see happen this offseason. Well, he had one for the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, he said he does not believe that they're going to move Freddie Peralta. Everything he's hearing is they're keeping Freddie Peralta at $8 million. It's a steal. They're not trading him. We'll see. But he then said that because they have so many duplicates of prospects at same positions and so forth, that he could see the Brewers going out, being aggressive, and getting a Mackenzie Gore, who is a young, dominant, well, not maybe dominant, but really good pitcher who still has 2 years of control. That, to me, makes a lot of sense. If you can roll in with Mackenzie Gore, Brandon Woodruff, Freddie Peralta, because, again, I don't think Woodruff's getting more than $22 million a year. So if it's Mackenzie Gore, Peralta, and Woodruff, and Mizorowski, and Priester, that's your five? Feel really good about things going forward.
Yeah, I know. I just want to bat so bad. I told you. I can't get up for any pitchers.
Yeah.
Although last year, like obviously starting pitcher was needed for that Brewers team. They just couldn't make it. Other than that, we got time for one more. It's kind of a longer one, but Dan Orlovsky, another guy that seems to make a lot of appearances.
Love Dan.
On Charlie's Sounds of the Day.
Big Jordan Love guy.
He talked about this Packers offense and specifically the predictability when asked by AJ Hawk on the Pat McAfee show.
Is this offense too predictable? There's obviously a hot mic that picked up, the Eagles D-line calling out inside zone last night on one of their running plays and getting a TFL on that. Is that something you see when you watch them? And I guess how do you move out of that? How do you make Jordan Love more aggressive too and make him push the ball down the field?
Yeah, I mean, so to answer the how do you get them to be more aggressive, like we could be honest about their number one, their number two, and number three pass catchers not being available last night as well. No Tucker Kraft, no Matthew Golden, no Jaden Reed. He's been out for a while. That certainly impacts 3 or 4 critical drops. It could potentially change the narrative of this. I don't find this offense predictable. I think there's a lot of movement. Sometimes I feel like they're overly complicated. Yeah, I've been on that train. So the 4th and 1 play call, here's my takeaway from that 4th and 1 play call, AJ, that you're talking about. Jordan talked that in hurry up when they were playing with some urgency, that they had run that play a couple times. I'm with that. Like, you got to use a different code word or like maybe get to a different thing or don't snap it because obviously Philly, was all over it. I would also say this. Can we all agree to stop putting a non-mobile or non-threatened running quarterback in the gun on 3rd and short and 4th and short? If you're not going to run the quarterback on 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, stop being in the shotgun to run the football. That doesn't make any sense.
Agreed.
If you have him as a running threat, then I'm fine with it. But if the guy's never going to be a running threat on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, then why are we in the shotgun handing the football off? But I don't find it overly complicated. And I think to be more aggressive, I'll go last night, AJ. 2nd down is the reason the Packers lost the football game. On 2nd down. They're terrible on 2nd down. And on 2nd down, it's run, run, run. 2nd and 9, run. 2nd and 8, run. 2nd and 10, run. Well, the defense is aware of that.
There you go. Well said by Dan Orlovsky. I agree with the shotgun take. 3rd and short, 4th and short. Unfortunately, Aaron Rodgers was in the same situation. He also was a non-running quarterback. Sports Talk on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, presented by Paramount Plus, streaming November 16th on Paramount Plus. It's the return of Landman. From Taylor Sheridan, co-creator of Yellowstone, Academy Award winner Billy Bob Thornton is back, featuring Academy Award-winning nominees Demi Moore, Andy Garcia, and Sam Elliott. Landman, new season streaming November 16th, only on Paramount Plus. And coming up next, things that Sparky missed on today's show. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy. C. Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Tommy Wirtz, other side of the glass.
What story did Sparky miss talking about today on Wisconsin Sports Daily? Don't you worry. Sparky's got you covered now. Don't miss Milwaukee Admirals hockey this season. Don't just buy tickets. Invest in memories at MilwaukeeAdmirals.com.
All right, let's get to it. A couple minutes left to go here in the show. Number one, we did not talk about this. Maybe tomorrow we'll get it more in depth. But Victor Oladipo is going to make his G League debut for the Herd, I believe, coming up this weekend. And I, for one, am excited, even though most of you wanted to dump water on my happiness and put a wet blanket on it. If this dude is right, and if you look at social media, a month or so ago, he's blowing by Wembanyama and doing all this other stuff. If he's right, that's an upgrade over what they have right now at that off-guard position. That's an upgrade. That can be another guy that can give you some offense, whether he's starting or coming off the bench. I don't think it matters to me at this point. If you can get another proven veteran that's been in the postseason, knows how to play at a high level in the NBA, know what that NBA schedule looks like. But again, the question is, can he stay healthy, Tom?
I'm not going to get excited about Victor Oladipo.
That's okay.
Sorry, I just can't.
That's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
You know.
That's fine. Baseball Writers Association of America tonight, manager of the year announcement coming. I would assume you will agree with this statement. Pat Murphy should win again.
Yeah, they don't even need an announcement. Like, Pat Murphy's got it locked. You heard it here first. Pat Murphy won manager of the year this year.
That's my
take. And if he doesn't,
yeah.
He did.
Is there going to be a full?
I'll do the show. I'll do the
tomorrow
Mason
about
Crosby
how he got
show
screwed?
tomorrow, shirtless on the stream.
That's a penalty for all of us. I want something that's not going to penalize us.
I mean, that was the one thing I came up with until you come up with something better. That's the deal.
No.
He's going to win, so I'm not worried.
I think he's going to win too. I tend to agree with you on that. I want to go over some of these Packers defensive numbers too here in the last couple of minutes because we spent the entire time talking about the Packer offense. We started this thing at 2:00. We talked for 3 hours, all outside of Joey Ortiz, the Brewers shortstop, who joined us at 2:40 to talk about the Stars and Stripes honor flight they took on November 1st in honor of Veterans Day today. Outside of that segment, it's been all about the Packers offense for pretty much this entire game. Jacob Morley put up some Pro Football Focus numbers. Let's talk about pressures. Micah Parsons had 7. Rashawn Gary had 2. Edrin Cooper 1. Nazir Stackhouse 1. Ingabare 1. Devontae Wyatt 1. To me, it did not feel like that at all watching the game that the defense played like that, specifically Micah Parsons. Pressures allowed. Rasheed Walker allowed 2. Aaron Banks allowed 6 pressures by himself.
Just got eaten for lunch.
Jordan Morgan allowed 4 pressures. Zach Tom allowed 4 pressures. Guys, that's too much. I don't care who the quarterback is, Tommy. That's too much.
It's way too much. And I will say this. I'm kind of sick of the stat pressures. I'm over it. I don't care about pressures. What are results? I need results. Pressures, can it lead to results?
You want sacks.
Or hits or something like pressures. Are you going to win Defensive Player of the Year because you lead the league in pressures?
I hope not.
No, that's dumb.
That'll do it for today's Wisconsin Sports Daily Show. If you missed Joey Ortiz, like we talked about, or Peter Bukowski, all of that available wherever you download your favorite podcast at with Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, or Best Packers coverage, Best Brewers coverage. All of those you could search wherever you download your favorite podcast and find those interviews too. Coming up tomorrow, it's going to be another fun day as we start getting ready for Packers and Giants. Looking forward to that. Charlie Usen returns as well. My thanks to Tommy Wirtz for the last couple of days. That'll do it. It's been Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Up next, Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up with Tommy Wirtz. Toodles!